In today's fast-paced world, stress and anxiety are as common as the gadgets we carry in our pockets. We have been led to believe that the solution lies in control, suppression, and an array of coping mechanisms that promise quick fixes, but often leave us feeling more tangled than before. The modern approaches to managing stress and anxiety frequently focus on techniques that aim to suppress these feelings or distract us from them entirely. These methods, while sometimes effective in the short term, can create an ongoing cycle of suppression and avoidance, preventing us from truly understanding the root causes of our distress. Historically, the approach to stress management has evolved significantly. In the early 20th century, stress was often viewed as a purely physical response, with solutions oriented around rest and relaxation. As psychology evolved, the focus shifted toward cognitive techniques, and later, pharmaceutical interventions became widespread. Despite these advances, stress and anxiety levels have not diminished, suggesting that perhaps we are missing a key piece of the puzzle. This is where the concept of mindfulness enters. Modern therapy increasingly incorporates mindfulness, a practice rooted in ancient traditions that encourages presence and acceptance rather than control and avoidance. Mindfulness teaches us to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, allowing us to understand and navigate our internal landscape with greater clarity. Over 2,500 years ago, teachings emerged that offered profound insights into the human condition, particularly those related to suffering and the pursuit of peace. These ancient teachings, especially those attributed to figures like the Buddha, have endured through the centuries, providing a foundation for mental and emotional well-being that remains relevant today. Ancient philosophies often emphasized the importance of understanding the nature of the mind and cultivating inner peace through practices such as meditation and contemplation. Unlike many modern approaches, these teachings do not promise instant relief, but instead offer a transformative path to lasting peace. In comparing ancient and modern therapeutic practices, one can see a stark contrast. Where modern techniques often focus on external solutions and symptom management, ancient wisdom encourages an inward journey of self-discovery and acceptance. This journey is not about escaping reality, but embracing it fully, with all its imperfections and challenges. Examples of timeless wisdom can be found across various cultures. In Eastern traditions, concepts like Taoism and Zen emphasize harmony with the natural flow of life, while indigenous cultures often focus on balance and interconnectedness within the community and the environment. These philosophies share a common thread: the belief that true peace comes from within, not from external circumstances. Stories have always been a powerful medium for conveying deep truths and facilitating personal transformation. They allow us to explore complex ideas and emotions in a way that is both accessible and meaningful. Throughout history, storytelling has been used to pass down wisdom, values, and cultural traditions from one generation to the next. The story of Buddha and the lake is a perfect example of how a simple narrative can convey profound lessons about patience, clarity, and the nature of the mind. The psychology of storytelling reveals that narratives engage both the rational and emotional parts of our brain, creating a holistic experience that resonates on multiple levels. Famous parables, such as the tortoise and the hare or the prodigal son, offer moral lessons that continue to be relevant in modern society. These stories capture the essence of human experience, highlighting universal truths that transcend time and culture. Narrative therapy, a modern therapeutic approach, harnesses the power of storytelling to help individuals reframe their experiences and find new meaning in their lives. By viewing their lives as narratives, people can identify patterns, recognize strengths, and redefine their personal stories in empowering ways. In our increasingly interconnected world, the journey to inner peace is one that many people share, regardless of their location or background. Stress is a universal experience, transcending borders and cultures, and there is comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our struggles. The role of community in healing is significant. Support networks, whether physical or virtual, provide a sense of belonging and understanding that can be crucial in times of distress. Sharing experiences and learning from others can offer new perspectives and insights, helping individuals feel more connected and less isolated. Global mental health challenges highlight the need for a collective approach to well-being. Issues such as anxiety, depression, and stress are prevalent worldwide, prompting the need for solutions that address both individual and societal factors. Virtual support networks have become increasingly important, particularly in times of crisis. Online communities and platforms offer opportunities for connection and support, allowing people to share their stories and seek guidance from others on similar paths. The parable of the lake, where Buddha teaches his disciple Ananda the value of stillness and patience, serves as a metaphor for the mind. Just as the lake becomes clear when left undisturbed, our minds find clarity when we allow ourselves to be still and patient. This story illustrates the importance of not reacting impulsively to the disturbances in our minds. Instead, it encourages us to cultivate a sense of calm and trust in the natural process of settling. In practical terms, the lessons of this parable can be applied to everyday life. When faced with stress or overwhelming emotions, taking a moment to pause and breathe can prevent us from becoming entangled in reactive patterns. By embracing stillness, we create space for clarity and insight to emerge naturally. Similar metaphors can be found in other teachings and traditions, reinforcing the universality of this wisdom. Whether it's the image of a calm ocean or a serene forest, nature offers countless reminders of the power of stillness and patience. Mindfulness is a practice that allows us to embrace stillness and presence, even amidst the chaos of modern life. It involves paying attention to our thoughts and emotions with non-judgmental awareness, creating a sense of spaciousness and acceptance. Techniques for practicing mindfulness include meditation, deep breathing, and mindful movement. These practices help us cultivate an awareness of the present moment, allowing us to observe our internal experiences without becoming overwhelmed by them. The science behind mindfulness reveals its numerous benefits for mental health. Research shows that regular mindfulness practice can reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression, increase emotional resilience, and improve overall well-being. By training our minds to focus on the present, we can break free from the cycle of rumination and worry, finding peace in the here and now. The belief that we must control our thoughts, emotions, and environments to find peace is a common misconception. In reality, true tranquility emerges when we learn to let go of this illusion of control. The psychology of control highlights our tendency to grasp for certainty and predictability in an unpredictable world. This desire for control often leads to increased stress and anxiety as we become fixated on managing every aspect of our lives. The art of surrender involves accepting the things we cannot change and trusting in the natural flow of life. By releasing our grip on control, we open ourselves to new possibilities and experiences, allowing peace to unfold naturally. Stories of individuals who found peace through letting go serve as powerful reminders of the transformative potential of surrender. Whether it's through a change in perspective or a shift in priorities, these narratives demonstrate the profound impact of embracing uncertainty. Incorporating ancient wisdom into our daily routines can provide practical tools for managing stress and anxiety effectively. By balancing modern demands with timeless teachings, we can create a lifestyle that supports mental and emotional well-being. Creating a daily practice of mindfulness is one way to integrate these teachings into our lives. This might involve setting aside time each day for meditation, reflection, or simply being present with our thoughts and emotions. Integrating meditation into a busy schedule can be challenging, but even short moments of mindfulness can have a significant impact. Taking a few deep breaths during a hectic day, or pausing to appreciate the beauty of nature, can help ground us in the present moment. Cultivating a lifestyle of simplicity and presence involves prioritizing what truly matters and letting go of distractions that drain our energy. By focusing on meaningful connections and experiences, we create a life that aligns with our values and supports our well-being. As we conclude this chapter, we begin to see that the peace we seek is not something distant or unattainable. It is already within us, waiting patiently beneath the surface, ready to be uncovered through stillness, patience, and understanding. In the chapters to come, we will continue to explore these themes, delving deeper into the wisdom of the past and discovering how it can illuminate our path to a more peaceful and fulfilled life. Imagine a lake, vast and serene, its waters undisturbed and clear as a mirror. This lake remains calm, reflecting the sky, the trees, and the clouds that pass overhead. Even when the wind stirs its surface or rain pelts down, beneath the ripples and disturbances, the lake holds its essential clarity. This is the nature of your mind. Peace is not something to be acquired from outside sources. It is an intrinsic quality, ever present, beneath the temporary disturbances of thoughts and emotions. Meditation, deep breathing, and moments of quiet reflection are not tools that add peace to your life. Rather, they are practices that help reveal the peace that has always resided within you. You are not creating something new, but uncovering what has been there all along. Science has shown that meditation alters the brain's structure and function, enhancing areas responsible for attention, compassion, and self-awareness. Neuroscientific studies reveal that regular meditation can reduce the size of the amygdala, the brain stress response center. This physical change correlates with decreased anxiety and increased emotional resilience. As you practice mindfulness, you cultivate a state of being where you are fully present, aware of your thoughts and emotions without being swept away by them. This presence allows you to observe your mind like a calm lake, untouched by the storms that pass over it. The metaphor of the mind as a lake is a profound one, resonating across cultures and philosophies. In many traditions, water is a symbol of purity, clarity, and tranquility. The lake's ability to return to calm after a storm mirrors the mind's capacity to regain clarity after turmoil. The psychological implications of this metaphor are significant. It suggests that no matter how turbulent your thoughts or emotions become, your mind's essential nature remains untouched. This understanding can bring a deep sense of peace and acceptance, reminding you that your true self is not defined by temporary disturbances. Historically, many cultures have used natural metaphors to describe the mind and its workings. The Taoists compared the mind to water, advocating for a life that flows naturally, without force. In Buddhist philosophy, the mind is often likened to the sky, vast and open, with thoughts and emotions as passing clouds. These metaphors encourage a shift in perspective, inviting you to identify with the expansive, unchanging nature of your mind, rather than the fleeting content that passes through it. Buddha's travels through ancient India were marked by simplicity and detachment from material possessions. He carried little more than the clothes on his back and a small bowl for alms. This minimalist lifestyle was not a deprivation, but a conscious choice that supported his spiritual journey. By renouncing excess, Buddha cultivated a life of freedom and clarity, unburdened by the weight of possessions. The history of ascetic practices in spiritual traditions shows a consistent theme: simplicity fosters inner peace. By reducing attachment to physical objects, one can focus on the inner journey, where true fulfillment is found. Modern minimalism draws from these ancient practices, emphasizing the benefits of living with less. Studies have shown that reducing clutter and simplifying one's environment can lead to decreased stress and increased happiness. Minimalism encourages you to evaluate what is truly important, helping you to prioritize relationships, experiences, and personal growth over material accumulation. The story of Buddha's ceramic bowl serves as a poignant allegory for the nature of attachment and impermanence. This bowl, once whole and cherished, became broken, a tangible reminder of life's transient nature. The art of storytelling in spiritual teachings is powerful, conveying deep truths through simple narratives. The broken bowl illustrates a fundamental Buddhist principle: everything is impermanent. The bowl's journey from whole to shattered mirrors the inevitable changes that occur in life. Attachments to temporary forms lead to suffering. When those forms change or disappear, symbols like the ceramic bowl are used throughout Buddhist philosophy to teach about the nature of reality. They help convey complex ideas in relatable, human terms, allowing learners to grasp profound truths through everyday experiences. Across cultures, stories of impermanence remind us that change is the only constant. Embracing this truth can lead to a more peaceful, accepting approach to life. Impermanence, or anicca, is a central tenet of Buddhism. It teaches that all things are in a state of constant change, from the smallest insect to the largest mountain. Understanding and accepting impermanence can reduce suffering and enhance appreciation for the present moment. In Buddhist texts, impermanence is described as a fundamental truth of existence. It is not something to fear but to embrace, as it is the nature of life itself. This acceptance brings freedom, allowing you to enjoy each moment without clinging to it. Psychologically, embracing impermanence can lead to greater emotional resilience. When you accept that change is inevitable, you are less likely to be overwhelmed by it. This understanding fosters a mindset of adaptability and openness to life's ebbs and flows. Practical exercises to cultivate acceptance of impermanence include mindfulness practices, reflection on personal experiences of change, and gratitude for the present moment. These practices help you develop a deeper appreciation for the transient beauty of life. Attachment to temporary forms is a primary cause of suffering, as illustrated by Buddha's discourse on the broken bowl. When you cling to things as they are, you set yourself up for disappointment as they inevitably change. The Four Noble Truths of Buddhism address this cycle of attachment and suffering. They teach that suffering arises from desire, and that liberation comes from letting go of attachment. By understanding this, you can begin to release your grip on the temporary and find fulfillment in the present. Cognitive, behavioral approaches to managing attachment align with these teachings. They encourage you to identify and challenge thoughts that lead to attachment, and to cultivate a mindset of acceptance and non-attachment. Personal stories of overcoming attachment highlight the transformative power of these practices. They show that by releasing the need for things to remain the same, you can find greater joy and peace in life. Acceptance of reality as it is, rather than how you wish it to be, brings true freedom. This acceptance leads to inner peace and the ability to find joy in all circumstances, whether favorable or not. Acceptance is not resignation, but an active engagement with life as it unfolds. It allows you to respond to situations with clarity and wisdom, rather than resistance and frustration. Modern psychotherapy recognizes the power of acceptance in promoting mental health. Approaches like acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, emphasize accepting thoughts and feelings without judgment, fostering a sense of peace and well-being. Acceptance can transform relationships, allowing you to see others as they are, not as you wish them to be. This openness leads to deeper connections and greater empathy. To live in harmony with reality is to live with flow, embracing life as it is rather than resisting it. This approach leads to a more harmonious existence, akin to the concept of Wu Wei in Taoism. Wu Wei, or effortless action, encourages you to align with the natural rhythms of life. By doing so, you find that life unfolds with greater ease and grace. Case studies of individuals who have embraced this way of living demonstrate the profound impact it can have. They show that by flowing with reality, you can find solutions to problems, create meaningful connections, and experience greater fulfillment. Daily practices to cultivate flow include mindfulness, meditation, and reflective journaling. These practices help you develop a deeper awareness of the present moment and align with the natural flow of life. The benefits of non-resistance are numerous. They include reduced stress, increased creativity, and a greater sense of well-being. By flowing with reality rather than fighting against it, you discover that life is already perfect, exactly as it unfolds. As you take these teachings into your life, remember that the peace you seek is already within you. Like the lake, your mind knows how to return to its natural state of clarity and calm. By embracing the wisdom of impermanence, releasing attachment, and living in flow with reality, you open yourself to a life of true freedom and joy. In the chapters to come, we will continue to explore these themes, delving deeper into the wisdom of the past and discovering how it can illuminate our path to a more peaceful and fulfilled life. Change is an inevitable part of life, yet it is something that many of us resist with every fiber of our being. This resistance can manifest in various forms, from a reluctance to alter daily routines to a deep-seated fear of losing the familiar comfort of the known. The psychological roots of this resistance are often buried in our desire for control and stability. We cling to what we know, even when it no longer serves us, because the unknown is daunting. The emotional toll of resisting change can be immense, leading to feelings of anxiety, frustration, and even despair. However, embracing change is crucial for personal growth. It allows us to evolve and adapt, opening up new possibilities and opportunities. Strategies for embracing change include practicing mindfulness, which helps us stay present and accept the flow of life. Another method is cognitive reframing, where we consciously shift our perspective to see change as a positive force. Stories of successful transitions abound, from individuals who have overcome personal tragedies to those who have reinvented their careers or found fulfillment in unexpected places. These stories serve as reminders that change can lead to growth and happiness. Loss is a universal experience that touches every life. It can take many forms, from the end of a relationship to the death of a loved one or the loss of a job. While loss can be painful, it also holds the potential for transformation. By viewing loss as a change in form rather than an end, we can begin to accept and even embrace it. Coping mechanisms for loss vary widely, but they often involve a combination of emotional expression, self-reflection, and support from others. Journaling, meditation, and therapy can all be valuable tools in this process. The role of acceptance in healing cannot be overstated. When we accept loss as a natural part of life, we free ourselves from the burden of suffering. Cultural perspectives on loss differ, but many traditions see it as an opportunity for growth and renewal. Whether through rituals, storytelling, or communal support, cultures around the world have developed ways to help individuals cope with and transform their grief. The story of Buddha's broken bowl is a powerful metaphor for understanding impermanence and acceptance. When Buddha's bowl broke, he accepted it with equanimity, recognizing that all things are transient. This lesson teaches us that nothing is ever truly lost, it simply changes form. In modern life, we can apply this wisdom by practicing non-attachment and living in alignment with the reality of impermanence. Symbolism in Buddhist teachings often points to deeper truths about the nature of existence. The art of acceptance, as demonstrated by Buddha, involves embracing both joy and sorrow with the same grace. By applying ancient wisdom in contemporary settings, we can navigate life's challenges with greater ease and resilience. Anger is a natural emotion, but when left unchecked, it can become destructive. Kassapa and Priya both struggle with anger, highlighting its psychological and physiological aspects. Anger can be triggered by stress, unmet expectations, or perceived threats, and it often manifests as physical tension and emotional turmoil. Effective methods for managing anger include mindfulness techniques, such as deep breathing and meditation. These practices help create a pause between stimulus and response, allowing us to choose a more measured reaction. The impact of anger on relationships can be profound, leading to conflict and estrangement. By developing emotional intelligence and learning to communicate effectively, we can transform anger into an opportunity for growth and understanding. Compassion and understanding are essential components of personal growth and healing. Buddha's use of compassion in addressing his disciples' struggles serves as a powerful example. By approaching others with empathy, we create a supportive environment that fosters learning and transformation. Developing compassion involves cultivating a deep sense of empathy and connection with others. Practices such as loving kindness meditation and active listening can enhance our ability to relate to others with kindness and understanding. The impact of empathy in education and personal development is well documented, with studies showing that empathetic individuals are more successful in both personal and professional realms. Historical figures such as Mother Teresa and Mahatma Gandhi exemplify the power of compassion in creating positive change. Stories have been used as teaching tools for centuries, and Buddha's storytelling method is a testament to their effectiveness. Through narrative, complex lessons are conveyed in an accessible and memorable way. Storytelling as a pedagogical tool engages the imagination and emotions, making abstract concepts tangible. Narrative techniques in teaching include using metaphors, analogies, and personal anecdotes to illustrate key points. Cross-cultural storytelling traditions reveal the universal appeal of stories, which transcend language and cultural barriers. By weaving lessons into stories, teachers can inspire and motivate learners to explore new ideas and perspectives. Emotional regulation is a crucial skill for navigating life's challenges. The sage's advice to Priya highlights practical techniques that can help manage emotions effectively. Mindfulness practices, such as focusing on the breath and observing thoughts without judgment, create a space for reflection and awareness. Cognitive, behavioral strategies involve identifying and challenging negative thought patterns, replacing them with more constructive beliefs. The science behind emotional regulation techniques shows that they can rewire the brain, promoting resilience and well-being. By incorporating these practices into daily life, we can develop greater emotional stability and inner peace. Our environment plays a significant role in shaping our emotional states. Priya's family dynamics illustrate how physical and social environments can impact well-being. Creating supportive environments at home and work involves fostering positive relationships and designing spaces that promote relaxation and comfort. Environmental psychology explores the connection between our surroundings and our mental health. By understanding this relationship, we can make conscious choices to enhance our emotional well-being. Community support is another critical factor, as strong social connections provide a buffer against stress and adversity. By cultivating a sense of belonging and connection, we can create environments that nurture our emotional health. In conclusion, embracing change, transforming loss, and managing emotions are essential skills for leading a fulfilled and peaceful life. By drawing on the wisdom of ancient teachings and modern psychology, we can navigate the complexities of the human experience with grace and resilience. As we continue our journey, let us remain open to the lessons that life offers, trusting in the unfolding of our unique path. Priya's discovery of the power of silence was a revelation that changed the landscape of her life. As she stood there, contemplating the empty bottle that the sage had given her, she realized that the true medicine was not something external, but rather something she had nurtured within herself. Silence had become her ally, a gentle force that allowed her anger to dissipate naturally, without the need for harsh words or raised voices. Silence, as Priya learned, can be a powerful tool in managing anger. It provides a space for emotions to settle, for the mind to cool. When she chose to remain silent, she found that her anger did not escalate into a storm. Instead, it became manageable, a gentle breeze that she could observe and then let go. This practice of silence transformed the dynamics of her household. Her children, once fearful of her outbursts, now laughed and played freely. Her husband, who had often stayed away to avoid conflict, began to come home earlier, drawn by the newfound peace in their home. The transformative power of silence lies in its ability to create a pause, a moment between stimulus and response. In that pause, Priya found wisdom. She discovered that most of her anger was not rooted in the actions of others, but in her own reactions. Silence gave her the opportunity to choose a different path, to respond with understanding rather than frustration. This practice of silence is not new. Throughout history, silence has been used as a tool for conflict resolution and personal growth. The psychology of anger reveals that it often thrives on expression. Words can fuel anger, giving it life and energy. But when we choose silence, we starve it of its power, allowing it to fade away. The sage who guided Priya on her journey was more than just a wise teacher. He was a catalyst for change, a gentle nudge that led her to discover the power within herself. His lesson was simple yet profound: true change comes from within. The bottle of water he had given her was merely a symbol, a reminder that the real medicine was something she carried all along. This revelation had a ripple effect on Priya's family and community. As she transformed, so did the energy around her. Her home became a sanctuary of peace, drawing neighbors who were curious about the source of its tranquility. Priya's transformation was not just personal, it was communal. Her journey illustrates the power of mentorship and guidance in personal development. The sage's role was not to provide answers, but to guide Priya toward her own understanding. It is a reminder that sometimes the most profound changes occur not through external solutions, but through inner realization. Mindful speech is an essential component of emotional intelligence. It involves pausing between the moment we feel something and the moment we express it. This practice allows us to respond from our highest self, fostering wisdom, compassion, and peace. Priya's journey toward mindful speech began with her practice of silence. By choosing not to speak in anger, she created a space for reflection. In that space, she found clarity and understanding. Mindful speech is not just about choosing our words carefully. It is about understanding the impact of our words on others. Speech has the power to heal or harm, to create connection or division. By practicing mindful speech, we choose to use our words as tools for building understanding and compassion. Buddha's teachings on anger are timeless. He likened anger to a burning coal that harms the one who holds it. Silence, he taught, is the remedy. It is the cool water that extinguishes the coal, preventing harm to oneself and others. Buddha's wisdom resonates with Priya's journey. By practicing silence, she discovered the power of compassion and inner peace. Buddhism teaches that emotions like anger are not inherently bad, but they can be destructive if not managed mindfully. Compassion, on the other hand, is a key component of spiritual practice. It involves understanding and empathy, the ability to see beyond our own emotions and connect with the experiences of others. In Priya's journey, compassion emerged as she learned to pause and understand her reactions. It allowed her to respond with kindness rather than anger, to see her family not as sources of frustration, but as fellow travelers on the journey of life. Kanthika's story is one of hope and transformation. Living in poverty, he faced a daily struggle to survive. His life was marked by societal neglect and a sense of inadequacy. Yet, within him was a spark of hope, a longing for answers and understanding. Kanthaka's journey toward transformation began with his encounter with Buddha. The teachings he received offered him a new perspective, a way to understand his circumstances, not as a punishment, but as an opportunity for growth. Buddha's presence and wisdom provided Kanthaka with a sense of acceptance and compassion, a reminder that he was not defined by his poverty. His story highlights the impact of socioeconomic challenges on mental health. Poverty can erode self-worth and create a sense of hopelessness, but spiritual teachings and guidance can provide solace and redemption, offering a path toward inner peace and understanding. The changes observed in those who visited Buddha were profound. They arrived burdened and left transformed, their faces radiating peace and joy. This transformation was not just personal, it was communal. As individuals found peace, so did the community. The influence of spiritual leaders in guiding personal and communal transformations is significant. They provide a space for healing, a source of wisdom and guidance. The ripple effect of positive change is evident in the stories of those who encountered Buddha, like Kanthaka. Their transformations serve as a testament to the power of spiritual encounters and the role of community in individual healing. Kanthaka's encounter with Buddha was a turning point in his life. Standing before the enlightened teacher, Kanthaka felt seen and understood for the first time. Buddha's presence was a balm for his troubled heart, offering acceptance and compassion. This encounter was about more than just finding answers to his questions. It was about acceptance, the realization that his worth was not determined by his circumstances. Buddha's wisdom provided Kanthaka with a sense of purpose and meaning, a path toward inner peace. Kanthaka's story reflects the universal human quest for answers to life's suffering. It is a quest that transcends cultures and time, a search for understanding and peace. Spiritual teachings offer guidance and solace in this quest. They provide a framework for understanding our experiences, a way to navigate the challenges of life with grace and resilience. The role of storytelling in conveying moral lessons is evident in the stories of Priya and Kanthaka. Their journeys offer insights into the human experience, lessons in compassion, wisdom, and the power of inner transformation. As we continue our journey, let us remain open to the lessons that life offers, trusting in the unfolding of our unique path. Buddha's presence had a profound effect on those who sought his guidance. His ability to listen with complete attention and empathy allowed individuals to feel truly seen and heard, often for the first time in their lives. When Kantha, the beggar, poured out his heart, Buddha's attentive presence created a space where Kantha's suffering was acknowledged and validated. This act of deep listening is transformative, as it allows individuals to feel valued and understood. Active listening is a powerful tool for personal transformation. When we listen to someone with full presence, we offer them a gift that goes beyond words. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of another, can alter perceptions and open pathways to healing. In moments of genuine connection, empathy can break down barriers and foster a sense of belonging. Throughout history, there are countless examples of empathy in action, where individuals have changed the course of their lives and the lives of others through compassionate listening. Buddha's teachings often challenged conventional notions of wealth. He encouraged individuals to redefine wealth beyond material possessions and to embrace generosity as a path to true abundance. When Buddha told Kantha that he was poor because he had never learned to give, he was highlighting a deeper truth about the nature of wealth. The psychological benefits of giving are well documented. Studies show that acts of generosity can increase happiness, improve mental health, and create a sense of purpose. Cultural perspectives on wealth and giving vary, but many traditions share the belief that true wealth is found in one's ability to give and serve others. Stories from different cultures illustrate similar teachings, emphasizing the value of generosity and the impact it can have on both the giver and the receiver. A mindset of scarcity can limit one's life and create a perpetual sense of lack. In contrast, an abundance mindset opens up possibilities and allows individuals to see the wealth that already exists in their lives. Buddha's teachings to Kantha were an invitation to shift from a scarcity mindset to one of abundance. Techniques to cultivate an abundance mindset include practicing gratitude, focusing on what one has rather than what is lacking, and reframing challenges as opportunities. Real-life examples of mindset shifts demonstrate the power of perspective in creating a more fulfilling life. When individuals let go of scarcity thinking, they often find that their circumstances begin to change as they attract more opportunities and positive experiences. The impact of scarcity thinking is evident in society, where fear of lack can drive behaviors that perpetuate inequality and division. Simple acts of kindness have the power to create significant positive change. A smile, a kind word, or an offer of help can have a ripple effect, touching the lives of many. Buddha's message to Kantha about the power of a smile or a kind word was a reminder of the impact that small gestures can have. Scientific studies on kindness and happiness highlight the connection between acts of kindness and increased well-being. When individuals engage in kind actions, they experience a boost in mood and a sense of connection with others. Community building through everyday actions is a testament to the power of kindness. When people come together to support one another, they create a network of care that strengthens the fabric of society. True wealth, as described by Buddha, is not measured by material possessions, but by inner qualities such as compassion, kindness, and presence. Buddha's teachings to Kantha emphasized that true wealth lies in one's ability to bring joy and comfort to others. The difference between material wealth and spiritual wealth is profound. While material wealth can provide temporary satisfaction, spiritual wealth offers lasting fulfillment and purpose. Personal stories of discovering inner riches often involve moments of awakening, where individuals realize the value of qualities such as love, compassion, and gratitude. Exercises to cultivate inner wealth include mindfulness practices, acts of service, and self-reflection. By focusing on developing inner qualities, individuals can experience a profound sense of abundance that transcends material limitations. Kantha's transformation from a beggar to someone who brings light to others serves as an inspirational example of personal growth. His journey illustrates the practical application of Buddha's teachings and the power of inner change. Key turning points in Kantha's journey included his realization of the abundance he already possessed and his decision to live differently. By embracing generosity and focusing on giving, Kantha experienced a shift in how others perceived him and how he perceived himself. Lessons learned from his transformation include the importance of mindset, the value of small acts of kindness, and the potential for change in any circumstance. Parallels with modern-day stories of personal transformation highlight the timeless nature of these teachings. Individuals today continue to find inspiration in stories of resilience, courage, and the power of giving. Virat's struggle with worry is a common experience for many. Buddha's attention and potential guidance offered a path to relief from the endless cycle of anxiety. The nature of worry is such that it can consume one's thoughts and create a sense of overwhelm. Understanding the psychology of worry can provide insights into how it develops and how it can be managed. Mindfulness techniques to reduce anxiety include practices such as deep breathing, meditation, and grounding exercises. These techniques help individuals to remain present and to break free from the grip of worry. Strategies for balancing responsibilities without overwhelming stress involve setting boundaries, prioritizing tasks, and practicing self-care. By managing worry effectively, individuals can create more space for joy and fulfillment in their lives. Mindfulness, as practiced by Buddha, offers a path to relief from mental suffering. By being present and mindful, individuals can alleviate the burdens of excessive worry and stress. An introduction to mindfulness practices includes techniques such as mindful breathing, body scans, and focused attention on the present moment. The benefits of mindfulness on mental health are well documented, with research showing improvements in emotional regulation, stress reduction, and overall well-being. Historical perspectives on mindfulness in spiritual traditions highlight its roots in ancient practices and its relevance in modern times. Through mindfulness, individuals can cultivate a sense of peace and presence that transcends the challenges of daily life. In conclusion, the teachings of Buddha offer valuable insights into the nature of true wealth, the power of generosity, and the potential for personal transformation. By embracing kindness, empathy, and mindfulness, individuals can create a life of abundance and fulfillment. As we continue on our journey, let us carry these lessons with us, trusting in the power of our inner riches to guide us towards a brighter future. Holding the cup steady in his right hand, Buddha looked directly at Virat and asked, "Tell me, friend, how heavy do you think this cup of water is?" Virat looked puzzled by what seemed like an odd question, given the serious nature of his suffering. But he answered respectfully, "Blessed one, it appears to be quite small. I would guess it weighs no more than a few ounces, certainly nothing that would be difficult to hold." The Buddha nodded thoughtfully and continued holding the cup perfectly still. "You are quite right," he agreed. "This cup weighs very little, and as you can see, I can hold it easily without any strain or discomfort. But tell me, what do you think would happen if I continued to hold this cup for the next hour without setting it down?" Virat considered the question carefully. "Well, blessed one, I imagine that after an hour, your arm might begin to feel tired from holding it in the same position for so long. The cup would feel heavier than it does now, even though its actual weight hasn't changed at all." "Ah, exactly," Buddha replied, still maintaining his steady grip on the cup. "And what if I were to hold it for an entire day without rest?" "By then," Virat answered, beginning to see where this demonstration might be leading, "your arm would likely be in considerable pain. The muscles would be cramped and aching. What started as a light, manageable weight would feel unbearably heavy, even though the cup itself remained exactly the same." A Buddha smiled with gentle approval and carefully set the cup down on the ground beside him. As he flexed his fingers and relaxed his arm, he looked directly into Virat's troubled eyes. "My dear friend, this simple cup demonstrates the exact nature of your suffering," Buddha explained, his voice carrying the warmth of complete understanding. "Your worries and concerns are like this cup of water. Each individual worry, when it first arises, may be quite manageable, no heavier than this small cup. The problem is not the weight of any single concern, but the fact that you have been carrying all of them continuously, never setting them down, never giving your mind a moment of rest. When you hold on to a worry for hours, it becomes more burdensome. When you carry it for days, it grows heavier still. When you clutch the same concerns for months or years, they become so overwhelming that they seem impossible to bear. Even though the actual situations they represent may not have changed at all, the cup doesn't become heavier by sitting in my hand. My arm becomes tired from holding it. Similarly, your problems don't necessarily become worse over time. Your mind becomes exhausted from carrying them without relief. The solution is not to pretend your concerns don't exist. Just as the solution to my tired arm was not to pretend the cup wasn't there. The solution is to learn when and how to set them down. To give your mind periods of rest and renewal, just as I gave my arm relief by placing the cup on the ground. Buddha gestured toward the peaceful grove around them where birds sang softly and sunlight filtered gently through the leaves. This is why we practice mindfulness and meditation, not to escape from life's challenges, but to learn the art of carrying them wisely. When you set aside dedicated time each day to simply be present in this moment without rehearsing past regrets or future fears, you give your mind the same relief I gave my arm. During these periods of mental rest, you discover something remarkable. Many of the worries that seemed so urgent and overwhelming begin to appear in their true proportion. Some reveal themselves to be much smaller problems than they appeared when you were carrying them constantly. Others show you solutions that were invisible while your mind was cramped with tension. Most importantly, you remember that you are not your worries. You are the awareness that can observe worries arising, acknowledge them, address what needs attention, and then consciously choose to set them down when carrying them serves no useful purpose. Buddha picked up the cup once more, held it briefly, then set it down again with deliberate mindfulness. Practice this simple wisdom, my friend. Each evening, consciously set down the concerns you have been carrying all day. Each morning, pick up only what truly requires your attention, and only for as long as that attention serves a useful purpose. Your mind, like my arm, will grow strong through this practice of knowing when to hold and when to release. This is the path to carrying life's burdens with grace, rather than being crushed beneath their accumulated weight. There came a time in Buddha's life when his disciples, having heard many teachings and witnessed countless demonstrations of their master's wisdom, felt ready to understand the deepest truths of existence. They had learned to calm their minds like still water, to release their attachments like broken bowls, and to speak with the wisdom of silence. But something in their hearts yearned for the profound understanding that had transformed their teacher from a seeking prince into an awakened being. One evening, as they sat beneath the same type of fig tree under which Buddha had found enlightenment years before, the eldest disciple, Suruta, approached his master with a request that came from the depths of his soul. "Blessed One," he said with deep reverence, "we have been privileged to learn from your wisdom and to witness the peace that radiates from your being. But we hunger to understand the foundation upon which all your teachings rest. Would you share with us the story of that sacred night when you discovered the truths that set you free from all suffering?" Buddha's eyes grew distant, as if seeing across the years to a time when he was still Prince Siddhartha, still searching, still carrying the weight of questions that seemed to have no answers. The other disciples gathered closer, sensing that they were about to receive something precious. The intimate account of the moment when their teacher had crossed from darkness into light. "My dear friends," Buddha began, his voice carrying the depth of someone who had journeyed to the very heart of existence and returned with treasures beyond measure. "I will share with you not just what happened that night, but the 4 fundamental truths that revealed themselves to me. Truths that explain why all beings suffer and how that suffering can finally come to an end. Before that night of awakening, I had been searching for 6 long years. I had practiced extreme austerities until my body was like a skeleton, thinking that by punishing my flesh, I could free my spirit. I had studied with the wisest teachers of my time, mastering meditation techniques that could transport consciousness to the highest realms. Yet, despite all these efforts, the fundamental questions that had driven me from my palace remained unanswered. Why do all beings suffer? Why does life seem filled with dissatisfaction, even for those who have everything they desire? Why do we experience moments of happiness only to watch them fade away, leaving us hungry for more? And most importantly, is there a way to find lasting peace? As I sat beneath the Bodhi tree on that fateful night, Buddha continued, I entered a deep meditation, determined not to rise until I had found the answers. As the night wore on, a profound clarity emerged within me. I saw with unmistakable certainty the four noble truths. The first truth is that suffering exists. It is an inherent part of life, as inevitable as the changing of the seasons. The second truth is that the cause of suffering is desire and attachment, the craving for things to be different than they are. The third truth offers hope. There is an end to suffering, a state of liberation known as nirvana. The fourth truth is the path that leads to this liberation, the Noble Eightfold Path. How the Buddha's disciples listened with rapt attention, their hearts opening to the simplicity and depth of these revelations. These truths, Buddha explained, are not doctrines to be accepted on faith alone. They are insights that each of you can verify through your own direct experience. By recognizing the nature of suffering and its causes, you can begin to dissolve the chains that bind you. And practicing the Eightfold Path, which includes right understanding, intention, speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and concentration, you cultivate a way of living that leads to freedom and peace. This path is not a quick fix, but a lifelong journey of transformation. As Buddha's voice trailed off, the disciples sat in silent contemplation, digesting the profound wisdom shared with them. They understood that the journey to enlightenment was not merely a destination, but a continuous process of awakening to the present moment and the timeless truths within it. In the tranquil grove, with the moon casting its gentle glow, they felt the weight of their own cups being set down. They realized that though the path might be long and the challenges many, they had been given the tools to navigate their way with grace and awareness. And in the quiet of the night, they knew they were not alone on this journey. Their teacher, the Buddha, walked with them, lighting the way with the flame of his enlightenment. In the quiet of a night under the luminous full moon, Siddhartha Gautama, who would soon become known as the Buddha, embarked on a journey of profound significance. This journey was not one of physical distance, but of inner exploration and determination. Having realized the futility of extreme asceticism, Siddhartha approached a magnificent fig tree, later known as the Bodhi tree, with a new sense of purpose. He had learned from the kind gesture of a village girl named Sugata, who offered him a bowl of rice pudding, that self-denial was just another form of attachment. Attachment to the belief that suffering the body would liberate the spirit. As he spread a cushion of grass beneath the tree, Siddhartha made a vow that would change the course of human spiritual history. He declared with unwavering resolve that he would not rise until he had found the answers that would free all beings from suffering. His commitment was not just to his own enlightenment, but to the liberation of countless others who would follow his path. In that moment, Siddhartha's vow became a beacon of hope for humanity, symbolizing the deep commitment required to transcend both physical and mental challenges on the quest for enlightenment. As the night deepened, Siddhartha entered a state of meditation more profound than any he had experienced before. Layers of confusion and ignorance began to shed from his consciousness like old bark falling from a tree. In the first watch of the night, he gained the ability to see his past lives, stretching back through countless existences. He witnessed the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth that all beings endure, driven by desires and actions whose consequences ripple across lifetimes. This insight revealed the intricate web of karma, where the law of cause and effect determines the trajectory of consciousness after death. Good actions lead to fortunate rebirths, while harmful actions result in states of suffering. Yet, it was in the third watch of the night, as dawn approached, that the most profound revelations emerged. 4 fundamental truths about existence illuminated his consciousness with such clarity that they illuminated the very fabric of reality itself. The first truth struck Siddhartha with a clarity that was both enlightening and sobering. He saw that life, as we ordinarily experience it, is characterized by dukkha, a term that encompasses suffering, dissatisfaction, and the inherent imperfection of conditioned existence. This realization did not mean that life contains only pain and no joy. Instead, Siddhartha understood that even our happiest moments carry within them the seeds of dissatisfaction. Pleasure is fleeting, goals are continually replaced by new ambitions, and love is shadowed by the fear of separation. Even when external circumstances seem perfect, there remains an underlying restlessness, an unshakable sense that something is missing. The psychological implications of dukkha reveal that the human condition is marked by a perpetual quest for fulfillment that seems always just out of reach. This understanding of suffering transcends mere physical pain, encompassing a broader existential dissatisfaction that is universal in nature. Siddhartha recognized that suffering is not limited to obvious forms like birth, aging, sickness, and death. It permeates all of existence through the suffering of constant change, the inability to hold on to anything permanently. This insight into the nature of suffering is echoed in other philosophical traditions, which also grapple with the impermanence and unpredictability of life. The realization of dukkha set the stage for the subsequent revelations that would complete his understanding of the human condition. As Siddhartha delved deeper into his meditative state, the second noble truth arose with unmistakable clarity. He saw that the root cause of all suffering is tanha, or craving. This is not merely the desire for material possessions, but a deep-seated psychological compulsion to grasp after experiences, to make permanent what is inherently impermanent, to find satisfaction in what cannot ultimately satisfy. Siddhartha understood that suffering arises because we are constantly reaching for something else. More pleasure when we have pleasure, different circumstances when faced with difficulties, eternal continuation of what we love, and immediate removal of what we dislike. This craving operates on three levels: sensual pleasures, existence itself, and the desire for non-existence. The craving for sensual pleasures extends beyond physical desires to any experience that gratifies our senses. The craving for existence reflects our desperate wish to maintain our identity and experiences forever. Conversely, the craving for non-existence represents the wish to escape and annihilate what we find unbearable. All these forms of craving stem from a fundamental ignorance about the nature of reality. We mistakenly believe that lasting happiness can be found in temporary things, and that we are separate, permanent selves who can possess and control our experiences. This ignorance fuels the endless cycle of desire, temporary satisfaction, dissatisfaction, and renewed desire that keeps us trapped in suffering. The understanding of craving and its consequences is crucial in recognizing the patterns that perpetuate our dissatisfaction and hinder true liberation. Despite the depth of this predicament, Siddhartha's meditation revealed a liberating realization as the third noble truth dawned. He understood that the cessation of suffering is possible through nirvana, the extinguishing of the fires of greed, hatred, and delusion. Nirvana is not just a theoretical possibility, but an achievable reality when craving is fully understood and released. When the grasping mind learns to let go and ceases to demand that reality be different from what it is, suffering ends. This realization does not imply passivity or indifference, but signifies the discovery of a peace that is not dependent on external circumstances, a joy that does not require constant feeding, and a love that does not transform into attachment. Descriptions of nirvana in Buddhist texts often portray it as a state of profound peace and liberation, comparable to enlightenment in other spiritual traditions. Personal accounts or stories of those who seek nirvana illustrate the transformative potential of this realization. Nirvana represents the ultimate goal of the spiritual journey, offering the promise of liberation from the relentless cycle of suffering. As the first rays of sunlight touched the earth, the fourth noble truth revealed itself to Siddhartha. He saw with perfect clarity the Eightfold Path, a practical guide to achieving liberation from suffering. This path comprises 8 interconnected practices that, when followed together, gradually purify the mind and lead to complete liberation. The path includes right understanding of the truths, right intention to follow the path with wisdom and compassion, right speech that is truthful and kind, right action that harms no living being, and right livelihood that supports rather than undermines spiritual development. Additionally, right effort involves persistent but not excessive dedication. Right mindfulness maintains clear awareness of present moment reality, and right concentration develops deep states of meditation necessary for final insight. Each element of the Eightfold Path contributes to spiritual growth and can be practically applied in daily life. Case studies of individuals or communities practicing the path demonstrate its transformative impact in fostering a life of awareness and harmony. The Eightfold Path serves as a comprehensive framework for those seeking to transcend suffering and achieve enlightenment. With the complete understanding of the Four Noble Truths crystallized in his consciousness, Siddhartha experienced a profound transformation. The seeking was over, and the questions that had driven him from his palace to this tree on this night had found their answers. He was no longer Prince Siddhartha, the seeker. He had become the Buddha, the awakened one who had discovered the end of suffering. This transformation signified a spiritual awakening that would impact countless generations of followers. The historical context of Buddha's enlightenment highlights the significance of this moment in shaping the spiritual heritage of Buddhism. Artistic and literary representations of this transformation capture the essence of Buddha's journey and its enduring influence on Buddhist practices and teachings. The awakening of Siddhartha to Buddha represents a pivotal moment in spiritual history, offering a blueprint for others seeking liberation from the cycle of suffering. The impact of Buddha's teachings on his disciples was immediate and profound. His insights into the nature of suffering and the path to liberation resonated deeply, inspiring a spiritual revolution that continues to influence philosophical thought worldwide. Stories of Buddha's disciples and their transformations illustrate the profound impact of his teachings on individual lives. The spread of Buddhism after Buddha's enlightenment demonstrates the enduring appeal of his message and its relevance across diverse cultures and time periods. Comparisons with other spiritual leaders' influences on their followers reveal the unique contributions of Buddha's teachings to the global spiritual landscape. Buddha's legacy of wisdom, compassion, and insight continues to guide seekers on their own journeys toward enlightenment. In the quiet of that night under the Bodhi tree, Siddhartha Gautama transformed from a seeker of truth into the Buddha, the enlightened one. His journey of determination, insight, and awakening laid the foundation for a spiritual tradition that has illuminated the path to peace and liberation for countless beings. As his disciples leaned forward, absorbing the profound teachings, they knew that the answers they had received would guide them on their own paths to enlightenment. With the flame of his enlightenment lighting the way, the Buddha's legacy continues to inspire and guide those seeking peace in a world that often seems designed to disappoint. In the realm of spiritual teachings, the Four Noble Truths stand not as philosophical musings, but as a pragmatic guide for addressing the human condition. These truths, presented by the Buddha, serve as a diagnostic tool and a prescription for healing. The first noble truth acknowledges the presence of suffering in life. Rather than a pessimistic view, it is a realistic acceptance of life's challenges. The second truth identifies the cause of this suffering, rooted in attachment and desire. The third offers hope, stating that cessation of suffering is possible. Finally, the fourth truth provides the path to this cessation through the Eightfold Path. This framework is akin to a physician diagnosing an ailment, explaining its cause, assuring that healing is possible, and then providing a treatment plan. The Four Noble Truths are not abstract concepts reserved for monastic life, but practical principles applicable to everyday living. Historically, these teachings emerged in a context where philosophical discourse was prevalent. Yet, the Buddha's approach was distinct in its focus on personal experience and verifiable results. Unlike doctrines that required blind faith, the Four Noble Truths invite individuals to test their validity through direct experience. This is what makes them a medicine for the human condition, offering tangible results rather than theoretical speculation. The journey from suffering to peace is not merely an intellectual endeavor, but one that requires personal involvement and practice. Understanding the Buddhist teachings goes beyond reading scriptures or attending lectures. It is about integrating these teachings into daily life and observing their impact firsthand. Meditation plays a crucial role in this process, serving as a tool for self-examination and inner transformation. Through meditation, individuals can develop mindfulness and insight, allowing them to see the nature of their thoughts and emotions. This awareness is key to breaking the cycle of suffering. A common misconception is that Buddhism advocates for a passive acceptance of life's hardships. In reality, it encourages active engagement with one's inner experiences, leading to genuine peace that arises from understanding and compassion. This journey is deeply personal, requiring each practitioner to verify the teachings through their own experiences. The concept of selflessness, while noble, presents significant challenges in its application. For many, the idea of extending compassion beyond personal attachments seems daunting. Psychological barriers such as fear of vulnerability, loss of identity, and perceived threats to personal security often stand in the way. In various cultures, examples of selflessness can be found in individuals who have dedicated their lives to serving others. These examples illustrate that selflessness is not about negating one's needs, but recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings. The emotional hurdles in practicing selflessness are real and require a deep understanding of one's motivations and fears. However, the impact of selflessness on personal relationships can be profound. It fosters a sense of connection and empathy that transcends individual differences, leading to more harmonious interactions. The story of King Mahadana serves as a powerful illustration of true generosity. His life experiences, marked by early exposure to suffering, shaped his approach to leadership and compassion. Unlike rulers who sought glory through monumental achievements, King Mahadana found fulfillment in alleviating the suffering of his people. His generosity was not limited to material wealth, but extended to his very essence, embodying a spirit of giving that was pure and selfless. Historical and cultural context provides a backdrop for understanding the depth of his actions. In comparison to other legendary figures of generosity, King Mahadana's story highlights the psychological impact of selfless giving. His actions were not driven by a desire for recognition or reward, but by an understanding that his happiness was inextricably linked to the well-being of others. The encounter between King Mahadana and the disguised god Indra serves as a test of the king's compassion. This divine challenge explores the true depth of human generosity and the willingness to make the ultimate sacrifice. In moral tales, divine beings often play a role in testing human virtues, serving as catalysts for profound realizations. The symbolism in this parable is rich, with Indra representing the doubts and skepticism that often accompany acts of selflessness. The concept of sacrifice, central to many spiritual traditions, is examined through the lens of King Mahadana's willingness to offer his life. King Mahadana's readiness to sacrifice his life poses philosophical questions about the value of life and the nature of selflessness. In both religious and secular contexts, sacrifice is seen as an expression of love and commitment to a greater cause. From a Buddhist perspective, the value of life is not diminished by the willingness to sacrifice it. Rather, it is enhanced by the understanding that life is interconnected with all beings. Ethical dilemmas arise in considering self-sacrifice, prompting reflection on the balance between individual and collective well-being. The debate over the boundaries of compassion is complex and multifaceted. While selflessness is a virtuous ideal, practical considerations such as self-care and mental health must be taken into account. Societal expectations often place pressure on individuals to exhibit boundless compassion, but true selflessness requires a balance between giving and preserving one's well-being. The impact of limitless compassion on mental health cannot be overlooked. Thus, finding a sustainable approach to compassion involves recognizing one's limits and respecting them. The lessons from King Mahadana's story and the Four Noble Truths offer valuable guidance for daily living. Integrating these teachings involves cultivating compassion and understanding in everyday interactions. Practical steps include mindfulness practices, engaging with community, and sharing stories of personal transformation inspired by these teachings. The role of community in spiritual growth is significant, providing support and encouragement on the path of selflessness. Ultimately, the teachings of Buddhism offer a path to peace and fulfillment through the cultivation of compassion and understanding. As we conclude this chapter, let us carry forward the essence of these teachings, applying them in our lives to foster a world where generosity and compassion prevail. To King Mahadana's response to the old man's request was immediate and genuine, a testament to his profound compassion and readiness to give of himself completely. In a world where leaders often grapple with the balance between personal interest and public duty, King Mahadana stood as a beacon of selfless leadership. His actions reflected a deep-seated belief in the welfare of his people, a belief that transcended the boundaries of his own mortality. Historical examples abound of leaders who, like King Mahadana, placed the needs of others above their own. Figures such as Gandhi, who sacrificed personal comfort for the freedom of his people, and Nelson Mandela, whose years of imprisonment only strengthened his resolve to end apartheid, exemplify this selflessness. Their stories, much like that of King Mahadana, remind us of the profound impact of altruism on governance and society as a whole. In many spiritual teachings, sacrifice is a recurring theme, symbolizing the relinquishment of personal gain for the greater good. Such acts of selflessness are often seen as the highest form of virtue, capable of inspiring others to follow a similar path. In King Mahadana's case, his willingness to offer his life not only moved the hearts of his subjects, but also caught the attention of divine beings. As he prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice, an extraordinary transformation occurred. The old man before him began to shimmer, his tattered clothes transforming into robes of celestial light. It was not a beggar who stood before King Mahadana, but Indra, the king of the gods, in disguise. Indra's voice, now resonating with divine authority, acknowledged the king's unparalleled generosity. He revealed that the test was not about the giving of life, but about the purity of intention and the depth of compassion that King Mahadana had shown. Such recognition from a divine being underscores the importance of true generosity, not just as an action, but as a state of being. It highlights a universal truth that transcends cultures and religions, that the measure of one's generosity is not in the wealth given, but in the willingness to give oneself completely to the welfare of others. Indra's acknowledgement of King Mahadana's selflessness offers a unique perspective on the divine view of human virtues. In many cultures, gods and deities often test humans to gauge their virtues, and these stories serve as moral teachings that highlight the importance of qualities such as honesty, humility, and generosity. In this instance, Indra's revelation not only affirms King Mahardana's virtue, but also serves as a reminder that true generosity is a rare and precious quality, even among the divine. The acknowledgement from a deity can be seen as a metaphor for spiritual growth and recognition, suggesting that when we act with pure intentions, we align ourselves with higher principles and universal truths. This alignment brings about a transformation, not just in the eyes of others, but within ourselves, as we begin to embody the virtues we aspire to. Recognition in the spiritual journey is not merely an external validation, but an internal awakening to one's true nature. It is a realization that the virtues we seek are already within us, waiting to be expressed through our thoughts, words, and actions. Indra's acknowledgement of King Mahardana encapsulates this realization, serving as a reminder that true generosity is about transcending the illusion of separation and embracing the interconnectedness of all life. At the heart of King Mahardana's actions lies the essence of selfless love. This concept goes beyond material generosity, encompassing the idea of giving oneself entirely for the benefit of others. Selfless love is transformative, not only for those who receive it, but also for those who give it. Psychologically, acts of altruism have been shown to increase happiness and life satisfaction, creating a positive feedback loop that reinforces compassionate behavior. Empathy plays a crucial role in this process, allowing individuals to connect with the experiences and emotions of others, fostering a sense of shared humanity. Throughout history, there are countless examples of individuals who have embodied selfless love, dedicating their lives to the service of others. Mother Teresa, for instance, spent her life caring for the poorest and most vulnerable, seeing the face of God in every person she helped. Her legacy continues to inspire acts of kindness and compassion around the world. Selfless love is not limited to grand gestures or famous figures. It is present in everyday acts of kindness, in the willingness to lend a helping hand or offer a listening ear. It is a love that transcends boundaries and divisions, uniting people in a shared commitment to the well-being of all. Buddha's method of teaching through silence, exemplified by the lotus flower, challenges traditional approaches to learning. In a world that often prioritizes verbal and intellectual understanding, the value of direct experience is sometimes overlooked. The lotus, a symbol of purity and enlightenment in Buddhism, serves as a powerful metaphor for the journey of spiritual awakening. Growing from the mud yet emerging untainted, it represents the potential for enlightenment within all beings, regardless of their circumstances. Buddha's silence invites his disciples to move beyond intellectual analysis and to experience the teaching directly. It is an invitation to embrace the present moment and to recognize the truth that lies beyond words. Silence in spiritual teachings is often used to convey the limitations of language in expressing profound truths. It encourages practitioners to cultivate inner stillness, allowing them to access a deeper understanding that transcends the confines of the mind. Alternative teaching methods, such as those employed by Buddha, emphasize the importance of experiential learning in spiritual practice. They remind us that true understanding comes not from external sources, but from within ourselves, through the direct experience of reality. The awakening of Mahakasyapa illustrates the power of direct perception in spiritual understanding. His realization, sparked by the simple act of seeing, highlights the importance of simplicity in grasping profound truths. In Buddhism, enlightenment is often described as an awakening to the true nature of reality, a process that involves seeing things as they truly are, without the veil of ignorance or illusion. Mahakasyapa's transformation serves as a reminder that this awakening is not about acquiring new knowledge, but about recognizing what has always been present. His experience underscores the idea that spiritual awakening is accessible to all, regardless of their level of intellectual understanding. It is a process that requires letting go of preconceived notions and embracing the simplicity of direct experience. The symbolic handing over of the lotus flower to Mahakasyapa represents the transmission of the true Dharma I, a non-verbal transfer of knowledge that transcends conventional teachings. This transmission is a cornerstone of spiritual traditions, emphasizing the importance of direct experience and personal insight in the journey towards enlightenment. In Buddhism, Dharma transmission is a significant event, symbolizing the passing of wisdom from teacher to student. It is a recognition of the student's readiness to carry forward the teachings and to continue the lineage of spiritual understanding. The use of symbols in spiritual communication, such as the lotus, serves to convey complex truths in a way that words cannot. These symbols invite practitioners to look beyond the surface and to engage with the deeper meanings that lie within. Intuition plays a vital role in grasping spiritual truths, complementing traditional learning and aiding in the internalization of teachings. As demonstrated by Mahakasyapa's insight, intuition allows individuals to connect with the essence of a teaching, bypassing the limitations of logical reasoning. The science of intuition suggests that it is a skill that can be developed through practice and mindfulness. Exercises such as meditation and reflection help to cultivate intuitive understanding, allowing practitioners to tap into their inner wisdom and to perceive truths that may not be immediately apparent. Stories of intuitive insights in spiritual narratives abound, illustrating the transformative power of this innate ability. These stories serve as reminders of the importance of trusting one's intuition in the journey towards spiritual awakening. The path to enlightenment is not without its challenges. Buddha's disciples, like many seekers, grappled with the tension between intellectual learning and direct experience. This struggle is common in spiritual practice, as individuals strive to balance the acquisition of knowledge with the cultivation of insight. Common obstacles on the spiritual path include doubt, attachment, and distraction, all of which can hinder progress and create barriers to understanding. Guidance from spiritual teachers can be invaluable in overcoming these challenges, offering support and encouragement as practitioners navigate the complexities of the journey. The balance between study and practice is crucial in achieving enlightenment. While knowledge provides a foundation for understanding, direct experience is essential for internalizing and embodying spiritual truths. As we conclude this chapter, let us carry forward the essence of these teachings, applying them in our lives to foster a world where generosity and compassion prevail. Through the practice of selfless love and the cultivation of intuitive understanding, we can unlock the door to enlightenment and discover the profound joy that lies within. In the quietude of the meditation huts, the air was thick with contemplation. The disciples had retreated into their own inner worlds, seeking a deeper understanding of the enigmatic event that had unfolded before them. In the stillness of the night, a small group approached Buddha, their hearts and minds aflame with questions ignited by the flower ceremony. Ananda, ever the attentive attendant, spoke for them. "Master," he began with reverence, "we are perplexed by what transpired tonight. You held up a flower and spoke no words, yet Mahakasyapa seemed to grasp a profound truth. What did he understand that we did not? What was the teaching in that silence?" And Buddha, with an expression of infinite patience and compassion, looked upon them, understanding both their confusion and the inherent nature of their inquiry. "My dear friends," he said gently, "you are asking me to explain in words what can only be understood beyond words. You seek to describe in concepts what exists prior to all concepts. This is akin to capturing the moon's reflection in a bucket of water. You may catch something that resembles the moon, but it is not the moon itself." He paused, allowing the weight of his words to settle in the air. What Mahakasyapa understood cannot be taught in the same manner as meditation techniques or ethical conduct. Those teachings are like fingers pointing to the moon. But what occurred tonight was direct contact with truth itself. It is like realizing you are the moon and have always been the moon. As his disciples listened, their minds began to quiet, opening to the possibility that the teaching was not something external to be grasped, but an internal truth to be realized. When I held up that flower, Buddha continued, I was not conveying a particular idea or concept. I was presenting reality as it is, perfect, complete, and utterly simple in every moment. Most of you immediately began thinking about the flower, analyzing it, waiting for me to explain its significance. In your search for meaning, you missed the meaning that was staring you directly in the face. But Markasiapa did something different. Buddha explained. He stopped thinking about the moment and simply entered it completely. He ceased trying to understand and allowed understanding to arise naturally. In that instant of pure presence, without the filter of concepts or the barrier of seeking, he recognized what has always been true, that every moment, every flower, every breath contains the complete teaching. This profound exchange between Buddha and his disciples illuminates the difference between intellectual understanding and deep, intuitive realization. Mahakasyapa's response to the flower was not a product of cognitive analysis, but a manifestation of direct perception, a moment where the layers of thought fell away, revealing the essence of true understanding. In Zen Buddhism, there exists a concept known as beginner's mind. This refers to an attitude of openness, eagerness, and lack of preconceptions, akin to the mind of a novice. It is an approach that invites us to experience life with fresh eyes, unencumbered by the weight of past knowledge or future expectations. The teachings of Buddha remind us that true wisdom often resides in simplicity and presence. It is not about accumulating knowledge or mastering complex philosophies, but about cultivating a state of awareness that is attuned to the present moment. This is where the deepest truths reveal themselves, not through the intellect, but through the heart that perceives without distortion. To cultivate this direct perception, one might engage in exercises designed to foster presence and awareness. These could include mindful breathing, where attention is placed on the natural rhythm of the breath, allowing thoughts to pass by like clouds in the sky. Another practice might involve mindful observation, where one focuses on a single object, such as a flower, and observes it without judgment or analysis, simply appreciating its existence. Silence and stillness are often misunderstood as mere absences of sound, of movement, of activity, yet within the spiritual traditions, they are revered as powerful vehicles for conveying truth. In the silence between words, in the stillness between actions, lies a realm of understanding that transcends the limitations of language and thought. Meditation techniques that emphasize silence are designed to quiet the mind, allowing the practitioner to access deeper states of consciousness. These practices create space for the emergence of insights and realizations that are not bound by the constraints of verbal expression. The psychological benefits of stillness are well documented in contemporary research. Studies have shown that regular meditation can reduce stress, enhance emotional well-being, and increase resilience in the face of life's challenges. However, the spiritual dimension of stillness goes beyond these tangible benefits. It is about reconnecting with one's true nature, discovering the peace that resides at the core of our being. Stories from various spiritual traditions underscore the power of silence as a teaching tool. In the Christian tradition, the Desert Fathers and Mothers found wisdom in the solitude of the wilderness. In the Sufi path, silence is described as the language of God. These narratives remind us that silence is not an emptiness to be filled, but a fullness to be experienced. As the teachings of the flower sermon continued to resonate, they uncovered a new layer of restlessness among some of the monks. They began to question why their own enlightenment had not arrived with such apparent ease. This restlessness was embodied in the young monk Upali, whose frustration was palpable as he approached Buddha. "Blessed One," Upali said, his voice carrying the weight of disappointment, "I have practiced diligently for 3 years, yet I feel no closer to enlightenment. Others seem to progress with ease, while I struggle. What am I doing wrong?" Buddha listened with compassion, recognizing the spiritual impatience that can arise even in the most dedicated seekers. He understood that the paradox of seeking enlightenment lies in the very act of seeking. The harder one strives for enlightenment, the more it seems to elude them. "Upali," Buddha said, "let me share a story of another monk who once struggled as you do. This monk lived in a monastery high in the mountains, where the air was clear and the silence profound. He too was earnest in his practice, yet he felt as if he were walking in circles. The Buddha's tale served as a gentle reminder that the path to enlightenment is not a linear journey, but a gradual unfolding. It is not about achieving a specific state, but about realizing the perfection that exists in every moment. The journey of spiritual practice is often likened to the gradual unfolding of a flower. Each petal represents a new layer of understanding, a deeper level of awareness. This process requires patience and dedication, as transformation often occurs imperceptibly over time. Daily practice is the cornerstone of this journey. It is through consistent effort that the mind is trained, the heart is opened, and the spirit is awakened. Yet, it is also important to recognize that periods of stagnation are a natural part of the process. These moments of stillness allow for integration, providing the space for new insights to emerge. Stories of well-known spiritual figures illustrate the diversity of paths to enlightenment. Some experience sudden, dramatic awakenings, while others walk a more gradual path. What unites them is their commitment to the journey, their willingness to embrace both the challenges and the joys of spiritual practice. As the night deepened and the disciples returned to their huts, they carried with them the seeds of understanding planted by Buddha's words. The lessons of the flower sermon were not confined to that single evening, but would continue to unfold in their hearts, guiding them on their path toward awakening. In the story of the man and his ox, the ox is not merely a creature of flesh and bone. It symbolizes something far deeper, representing the essence of our true nature or Buddha nature. In many spiritual traditions, animals are often used symbolically to convey profound truths. The ox, with its strength and peaceful demeanor, embodies inner peace, wisdom, and the core of the spiritual journey each person embarks upon. The ox is a symbol of completeness, never truly lost, only obscured from our sight by the veils of misunderstanding and distraction. In Buddhist teachings, the ox is often depicted as a representation of the mind, one that is tamed through diligent practice and mindful awareness. The story of the man searching for his ox is a parable about the search for self, knowledge, and enlightenment. In many ways, it is not the ox that is lost, but the man's awareness of it. Historically, animals have played significant roles in spiritual teachings across cultures. In India, the cow is sacred, representing fertility and abundance. Similarly, in Chinese philosophy, the dragon symbolizes power and wisdom. These symbols are not arbitrary, but deeply rooted in the cultural and spiritual psyche, offering a mirror to reflect upon our inner world. The man's journey is a poignant illustration of the illusion of loss. We often believe that we are missing something, that a part of us is absent or incomplete. However, the reality is that nothing is truly lost. Our true nature, like the ox, is always present, waiting to be recognized. The man's quest is a metaphor for the spiritual path, where the search itself becomes the means of uncovering what has always been there. Perception plays a crucial role in this. Often, we see what we expect to see, not what is. Ancient philosophies remind us that self discovery is not about finding something new, but about seeing clearly what is already present. Mindfulness practices, such as meditation, teach us to be present, helping us to recognize the reality of our existence. In this context, the man's journey becomes a transformative experience. Each step, each moment of doubt and perseverance, is a step toward greater understanding. The journey is not just a search for the ox, but a process of awakening to the truth of his own being. The man's journey is not just about finding his ox. It is a path of transformation, a journey where the search itself leads to personal growth and deeper understanding. Through his persistence and dedication, he develops qualities such as patience, resilience, and wisdom. The challenges he faces are not obstacles, but opportunities for growth. In many ways, the man's journey mirrors the archetype of the hero's journey. Like heroes of myth and legend, he faces trials and tribulations, each one bringing him closer to self-realization. In modern self-help practices, this journey is often referred to as a transformative process, where adversity is seen as a catalyst for change. The process of searching, of following the tracks, teaches the man to read the subtle signs of his own presence. He learns to value the journey itself, understanding that the path is not separate from the destination. This realization is a profound moment of enlightenment, where the search becomes the goal. Mindfulness is the key to enlightenment. Each moment of awareness, each act of compassion, is a step toward realizing one's true nature. The man's journey illustrates this beautifully, showing how every experience, every interaction, is an opportunity for spiritual growth. Mindfulness practices, such as meditation, help cultivate this awareness. By focusing on the present moment, we learn to see things as they are, without the filters of judgment or expectation. This clarity allows us to recognize our true nature, leading to spiritual enlightenment. Case studies of enlightenment experiences often reveal a common thread, a realization that the journey and the destination are one and the same. This understanding transforms impatience into acceptance, allowing us to embrace each moment as it comes. One of the most profound teachings of the story is the non-duality of practice and goal. The search and the finding are not separate. They are two sides of the same coin. The journey itself is the destination, and every step is an expression of enlightenment. Non-dualistic philosophies emphasize this understanding, teaching that the path is not about reaching a specific goal, but about embracing the journey. Practical exercises, such as mindful walking or breathing, help integrate this understanding into daily life, allowing us to live with greater presence and acceptance. In contrast to Western goal-oriented mindsets, which focus on achievement and success, this approach encourages us to value the process itself. By letting go of the need to arrive, we find peace in the journey, discovering that we are already where we need to be. Parables and stories have long been powerful tools for conveying spiritual lessons. The story of the man and his ox is a perfect example, illustrating complex teachings in a way that resonates deeply with practitioners. Storytelling has a rich history in religious texts, from the Bible to the Bhagavad Gita. These narratives offer a way to explore spiritual truths, providing insights that are both accessible and profound. The psychological impact of storytelling is significant, engaging our emotions and imagination in a way that pure logic cannot. Creating effective spiritual narratives involves weaving together elements of truth, metaphor, and personal experience. These stories become a part of our inner dialogue, guiding us on our spiritual journey and offering insights into the nature of our existence. In conclusion, the story of the man and his ox is a powerful parable about the search for self-knowledge and enlightenment. It teaches us that what we seek is not separate from who we are, that the journey itself is the destination. Through mindful awareness and acceptance, we can recognize our true nature and embrace the journey of life with open hearts and minds. As we continue on this path, May we find peace in the understanding that nothing is truly lost, and everything we seek is already within us. As the gentle afternoon light filtered through the monastery trees, the faces of the monks were illuminated in a warm glow. They sat in a circle around the Buddha, their expressions a mix of contemplation and curiosity. In their eyes, the Buddha saw the reflection of a question that had been growing in the depths of their minds, a question that sought to unravel the mysteries of their spiritual journey. The Buddha had often spoken of enlightenment as something that was not to be attained but recognized. He taught that their true nature was already perfect, that the Buddha nature was inherent within each of them. Yet, this teaching led to a perplexing paradox. If enlightenment was simply a matter of recognition, why were there so many teachings and practices? Why the need for meditation, ethical guidelines, and the Eightfold Path? To understand this paradox, one must first delve into the nature of enlightenment itself. Enlightenment is often described as a state of complete awareness and understanding, a profound realization of one's true nature. It is both a destination and a journey, a state of being that is already present, yet requires discovery. This duality is where the confusion often lies. The teachings of the Buddha suggest that enlightenment is not something external to be acquired, but an internal truth to be uncovered. Spiritual practices are not about adding something new, but removing the layers of ignorance that obscure the truth. They are like tools that clear the dust from a mirror so that one may see their true reflection. Despite the inherent nature of enlightenment, the role of spiritual guidance remains crucial. The path to self-discovery is fraught with challenges and distractions. Without guidance, one can easily become lost in the illusions of the mind. Spiritual teachers act as guides, pointing the way and helping to navigate the complexities of the journey. The teachings and practices provided by spiritual leaders are not meant to create enlightenment, but to facilitate its recognition. They offer a framework within which individuals can explore their consciousness. Through meditation, ethical living, and mindful awareness, practitioners cultivate the conditions necessary for awakening. The teachings of the Buddha and other spiritual leaders serve as a compass, guiding seekers toward the truth. They provide structure, discipline, and focus. Without them, the journey can become aimless and unproductive. Spiritual teachings are like a map that highlights the terrain of the inner landscape, offering insights into the obstacles and opportunities along the way. In the context of spiritual growth, teachings are not merely a set of rules, but a means of transformation. They challenge individuals to question their assumptions, confront their fears, and embrace their potential. Through this process, practitioners develop a deeper understanding of themselves and their place in the world. The question posed by Subhuti, a respected senior monk, was a catalyst for deeper understanding among the community. It was a question that cut to the heart of the spiritual path, challenging the apparent contradictions in the teachings. Subhuti's inquiry was a reminder of the power of questioning in spiritual growth. Through questioning, individuals engage in a process of self-discovery. They explore the limits of their understanding and push beyond the boundaries of conventional thinking. Subhuti's question was not a challenge to the teachings, but an invitation to delve deeper into their meaning. In response to Subhuti's inquiry, the Buddha shared the parable of the burning house. This story serves as a metaphor for the urgency of spiritual awakening and the necessity of compassionate guidance. The burning house symbolizes the dangers of ignorance, the flames representing the suffering caused by attachment and delusion. The merchant's actions in the parable illustrate the lengths to which a compassionate guide will go to ensure the safety of their loved ones. The promise of the toy carts was a means to an end, a way to motivate the children to leave the burning house. It was a demonstration of skillful means, using whatever methods necessary to achieve the ultimate goal. Compassionate guidance often requires seemingly elaborate methods to achieve straightforward spiritual goals. The complexity of teachings and practices is not a distraction, but a necessary part of the process. They are designed to address the diverse needs and capabilities of individuals, offering multiple pathways to the same destination. The balance between complexity and simplicity in spiritual teachings is delicate. While the ultimate truth is simple, the path to realizing it can be complex. A skilled teacher understands this balance and tailors their guidance to suit the needs of their students, providing support and encouragement along the way. The merchant's decision to offer his children something more wonderful than promised is rich with symbolism. It represents the nature of spiritual promises and fulfillment. In the spiritual journey, what is initially sought may be transformed into something far greater than imagined. The merchant's gift of a single magnificent cart symbolizes the unity and interconnectedness of spiritual truths, while the children desired individual carts. The gift they received was greater than the sum of its parts. This reflects the nature of spiritual growth, where the journey leads to a realization of the oneness of existence. The lessons derived from the parable are applicable to personal spiritual journeys. They emphasize the importance of recognizing the present moment and the power of transformation through realization. The urgency of the burning house serves as a reminder of the impermanence of life and the need to awaken from the slumber of ignorance. Through the parable, the Buddha teaches that the methods and practices are not obstacles, but vehicles for transformation. They are tools that help individuals navigate the complexities of their inner world and uncover the truth that lies within. The journey of enlightenment is one of continuous discovery, where each step brings new insights and revelations. As the chapter draws to a close, the monks reflect on the wisdom imparted by the Buddha. They see the teachings in a new light, understanding that they are not separate from the goal, but an integral part of it. The path to enlightenment is not a linear progression, but a spiral of deepening awareness. With this understanding, the monks are encouraged to embrace their practices with renewed vigor, knowing that each moment of mindfulness brings them closer to the recognition of their true nature. The journey continues, guided by the teachings of the Buddha and the compassionate guidance of their spiritual community. Beneath the golden rays of the sun, where dreams take form and imagination knows no bounds, there stood a cart unlike any other. Its wheels gleamed in the sunlight, large enough for all three children to ride together in harmony. This was no ordinary cart, for it was drawn by a magnificent white ox, whose beauty and gentleness made it seem almost magical. The children, filled with awe and delight, found themselves caught in a moment that transcended their individual desires. Gone was the longing for separate carts, replaced by the shared joy of this extraordinary treasure. In their laughter and play, they discovered a profound truth, that true happiness often lies in the joy of sharing. The merchant, watching his children with a heart full of gratitude, realized the wisdom of what had unfolded. He had used the promise of lesser gifts to guide them away from danger, towards a greater gift than they had ever imagined. This white ox, a symbol of unity and shared happiness, stood as a testament to the power of collective joy over individual wants. Buddha, with a voice that carried both wisdom and compassion, paused in his storytelling to gaze upon his disciples. Do you see, my dear students, what this parable reveals about the nature of spiritual teaching? Now, the burning house, he explained, represents samsara, the world of suffering, attachment, and endless cycles of birth and death. Like children absorbed in their games, most beings are so distracted by temporary pleasures that they fail to see the danger around them. They remain unaware of how their attachments to worldly things are the true source of their suffering. I am like the Father who sees the fire clearly and calls out warnings. Buddha continued, but beings cannot understand the urgency of spiritual practice when described in abstract terms. So, out of skillful compassion, Buddha offers different teachings to different people according to what will motivate them to begin the journey away from suffering. To some, he promises the peace of concentration, to others the joy of loving kindness, and to still others the wisdom that comes from understanding emptiness. These teachings, like the different carts promised by the Father, are designed to inspire individuals to take steps away from the burning house of samsara. The concept of skillful means, as explained by Buddha, is not a mere tactic, but a profound expression of compassion. It acknowledges the diverse motivations and capacities of individuals, offering tailored teachings to guide them on their unique paths. Buddha's methods, he assured, are not obstacles but rather skillful means for removing the barriers that prevent the recognition of one's true nature. Just as the Father's promise was not deception but compassionate guidance towards safety, Buddha's teachings are loving support for the journey towards enlightenment. This approach, rooted in understanding and adaptability, highlights the importance of catering to the individual needs of practitioners. By offering teachings that resonate with their current state, Buddha helps them overcome the obstacles that obscure their path to liberation. In this way, the path to enlightenment becomes not a rigid framework, but a dynamic journey of discovery and growth, guided by the gentle wisdom of skillful means. As the disciples contemplated the parable of the burning house, a question arose in their hearts about the role of worldly pleasures in their spiritual journey. Even as dedicated monks, they encountered moments of enjoyment, the taste of a delicious meal, the beauty of a sunset, the warmth of companionship. If these pleasures were natural parts of human experience, how should they relate to them on the spiritual path? Should all enjoyment be viewed with suspicion? Or was there a way to experience life's sweetness without falling into the trap of attachment? A thoughtful monk named Kakyayana approached Buddha with this question, seeking guidance on how to balance enjoyment and detachment. Buddha, recognizing the sophistication of the inquiry, responded with a story that illustrated both the dangers and possibilities in our relationship with worldly pleasures. In a dense forest where ancient trees whispered secrets to the wind, a skilled hunter devised a clever yet cruel method to capture wild animals. He understood that most forest creatures possessed a natural wariness, so he crafted a trap that took advantage of their innocent desires. Carrying a small clay pot filled with the most delicious honey, the hunter ventured deep into the forest. The honey's fragrance, so pure and sweet, could attract animals from great distances. Yet, hidden within its golden sweetness was a deadly poison, a trap for any creature that succumbed to its allure. Finding a well-traveled path near a stream, the hunter spread the poisoned honey on large leaves, then retreated to watch the results of his cunning. The aroma drifted through the forest air, drawing curious animals who had no way of detecting the danger concealed in the sweetness. One day, a beautiful deer wandered along this path, her graceful movements a testament to the natural wisdom that had kept her safe through many seasons. As she approached the stream for her daily drink, the incredible sweetness of the honey reached her nostrils, more enticing than any flower she had ever known. Her instincts warned her to be cautious of anything unusual, yet the alluring fragrance grew stronger with each breath. Finally, her desire overcame her caution. She took a small taste of the honey, experiencing a pleasure so intense it seemed to justify any risk. But within moments, the trap closed around her, a harsh reminder of the hidden dangers within seemingly appealing desires. The story of the hunter's trap serves as a metaphor for the hidden dangers of worldly pleasures. The deer, guided by her instincts, initially approached with caution, but ultimately Her desire led her to ignore the warning signs. This tale illustrates the importance of trusting instincts and exercising caution in unfamiliar situations. For spiritual practitioners, the lesson is clear. While it is natural to encounter and appreciate worldly pleasures, it is essential to remain vigilant and discerning. By cultivating mindfulness and awareness, practitioners can enjoy life's sweetness without falling into the trap of attachment. This balance, rooted in wisdom and experience, allows for a harmonious relationship with the world, where pleasures are embraced without becoming a source of suffering. The use of parables and stories in spiritual teaching is a testament to the power of narrative in conveying profound truths. Parables engage the imagination, making complex concepts accessible and memorable for practitioners. Through storytelling, abstract teachings are brought to life, allowing listeners to connect with the lessons on a personal level. The art of storytelling in spiritual teachings serves as a bridge between the intellect and the heart, facilitating a deeper understanding of the teachings. As practitioners reflect on these stories, they uncover layers of meaning that resonate with their own experiences, guiding them on their spiritual journey. In this way, parables become not just tales of the past, but living teachings that continue to inspire and illuminate the path to enlightenment. As the chapter draws to a close, the disciples sit in quiet contemplation, reflecting on the lessons woven into the stories shared by Buddha. The tales of the magical white ox, the burning house, and the hunter's trap resonate deeply, offering insights into the nature of desire, attachment, and liberation. With renewed understanding, they embrace their spiritual practice with open hearts, ready to navigate the intricate dance of shadows and light on the path to enlightenment. The tale began with the deer, an innocent creature drawn to the sweetness of honey that promised a momentary escape from the mundane reality of the forest. Yet, unbeknownst to her, the honey harbored a hidden poison. As she indulged, a strange sensation coursed through her body. Her legs grew weak, her vision blurred, and a terrible burning spread through her stomach. Too late, she realized that the very sweetness that had brought her joy was now bringing her death. She collapsed beside the stream, her life ending because she had been unable to resist what appeared to be pure pleasure, but contained hidden poison. As Buddha finished this part of the story, he looked around at his disciples with eyes full of compassion. The parable was not just a tale of caution, but a profound teaching on the nature of desire and wisdom. He continued, explaining that the story was not a warning to avoid all pleasure. Rather, it was about discerning between what is genuinely nourishing and what is harmful. The honey itself was not evil. It was genuinely sweet and nourishing. The problem was not the pleasure, but the poison that had been mixed with it, and the deer's inability to distinguish between what was safe to enjoy and what was dangerous to consume. In our human lives, we encounter many experiences that offer genuine sweetness. The joy of friendship, the beauty of nature, the satisfaction of meaningful work, the pleasure of artistic expression. These experiences are not inherently poisonous. They become dangerous only when we approach them with the poison of attachment, when we demand that they provide permanent satisfaction, when we become so dependent on them that our peace depends on their continued presence. The wise practitioner learns to distinguish between pleasure and attachment, between enjoyment and craving. When you taste delicious food, you can appreciate its flavor fully without demanding that the pleasure last forever. When you witness a beautiful sunset, you can be moved by its splendor without trying to possess it or recreate it. When you experience friendship, you can cherish the connection without clinging so tightly that you destroy the very freedom that makes relationship possible. This discernment comes from mindfulness, the ability to observe your own responses to pleasant experiences. When pleasure arises, notice whether it is accompanied by grasping, by demands that it continue indefinitely, by anxiety about losing it. These are the signs that poison has been mixed with the honey. But when you can receive pleasure with gratitude while holding it lightly, when you can enjoy beauty without needing to own it, when you can appreciate sweetness without becoming addicted to it, then you have learned to extract the nourishment from life's honey while avoiding the poison of attachment. Desire is natural, a driving force that propels us toward goals, fuels our passions, and enriches our experiences. Yet, when unchecked, desire can lead to suffering. Buddha taught his disciples about the importance of balancing desire with wisdom. Wisdom allows us to recognize the impermanence of pleasure and the futility of clinging to fleeting experiences. Mindfulness is the practice of observing our desires, understanding their nature, and responding to them with discernment. Through mindfulness, we can cultivate a wise relationship with desire, appreciating the sweetness of life without becoming entangled in its snares. Desire, when tempered by wisdom, becomes a source of joy rather than a cause of suffering. The distinction between pleasure and attachment is subtle yet profound. Pleasure is a natural response to enjoyable experiences, a momentary delight that enriches our lives. Attachment, on the other hand, is a fixation on pleasure, a clinging that leads to suffering. When we become attached to pleasure, we lose sight of its transient nature. We begin to believe that our happiness depends on its permanence, and we suffer when it inevitably fades. To enjoy life's pleasures without falling into attachment, we must cultivate non-attachment. This means appreciating experiences for what they are, without demanding that they provide lasting satisfaction. By embracing non-attachment, we free ourselves from the cycle of craving and suffering, allowing us to experience pleasure as it is meant to be. The middle way is a path of moderation, a balanced approach that avoids the extremes of indulgence and denial. It teaches us to navigate the complexities of life with equanimity, embracing both pleasure and pain without becoming enslaved by either. In practice, the middle way involves recognizing the impermanence of all things, understanding the nature of desire, and cultivating mindfulness. It is a path that leads to wisdom, freeing us from the bondage of attachment and allowing us to live with greater freedom and joy. By following the middle way, we can appreciate the gifts of life without becoming dependent on them, finding balance in the midst of life's ever-changing tides. There was once a young man born into a peaceful village named Immerse, meaning the harmless one. His parents chose this name with deep hope that their child would live a life filled with gentleness, wisdom, and contribution to the world around him. And for many years it seemed their hopes would be fulfilled in the most beautiful way possible. Immerse grew into everything his name promised. A kind-hearted, intelligent young man whose natural curiosity and sharp mind made him beloved by teachers and respected by fellow students. His dedication to learning was extraordinary, spending long hours studying ancient texts, mastering complex philosophical concepts, and developing the kind of deep understanding that marked him as someone destined for greatness. Word of Immerse's brilliance reached a renowned teacher who ran an exclusive school for the most promising young scholars in the region. This teacher, impressed by reports of the young man's abilities, invited Immerse to join his prestigious institution. It was an honor that families dreamed of, the opportunity to study with a master whose students often went on to become advisors to kings and respected philosophers in their own right. For several years, Immerse flourished in this advanced learning environment. His understanding surpassed that of students who had been there much longer. His insights impressed even the most experienced instructors, and his respectful manner earned him the admiration of everyone who encountered him. It seemed that his path toward becoming a great teacher and scholar was unfolding exactly as it should. But within the heart of his master, A darkness was growing that would prove catastrophic for this promising young man. As Ames's abilities continued to shine ever more brightly, the teacher began to feel threatened rather than proud. Jealousy crept into his thoughts like poison, followed by fear that his own reputation might be overshadowed by this brilliant student. These toxic emotions festered until they transformed into a hatred so intense that the teacher decided to destroy the very person whose gifts had once brought him such satisfaction. Using his position of authority and the trust that people naturally placed in him, the teacher began spreading malicious lies about Ames's character. He whispered to other instructors that the young man had been disrespectful in private, claimed that Ames had been dishonest about his work, and even suggested that he had made threatening remarks toward fellow students. These fabricated accusations, coming from such a respected source, spread through the school community like flames through dry grass. Students who had once admired Ames began to view him with suspicion. Teachers who had praised his dedication started to question his motives. The warm atmosphere of learning and fellowship that had nurtured his growth was replaced by cold stares, whispered conversations that stopped when he appeared, and an isolation that grew more complete with each passing day. Eventually, the lies achieved their intended purpose. Ames was expelled from the school in disgrace, branded as dangerous and unworthy, cast out from the community that had once celebrated his promise. The young man who had devoted his life to truth and learning suddenly found himself rejected by the very world he had served so faithfully. The shock and betrayal of this experience shattered something fundamental in Ames's heart. He wandered into the wilderness, consumed by rage and despair unlike anything he had ever known. The emotional consequences of betrayal are profound, leaving scars that can take years to heal. For Ames, the betrayal by his teacher and community led to feelings of isolation, loss, and a struggle to find meaning in a world that had turned against him. In the wilderness, Ames faced his darkest fears and deepest wounds. Yet, amid the despair, he also found moments of clarity and insight. He began to understand that his worth was not defined by the opinions of others, and that true wisdom lay in embracing the impermanence of life. The path to healing was not easy, but it was possible. Through meditation and reflection, Ames gradually began to let go of his anger and grief, finding solace in the natural world and the quietude of his own heart. In time, he would come to see his experience as a profound teacher, offering lessons in resilience, forgiveness, and the transformative power of love. From Ames's story, we learn the importance of integrity, the dangers of unchecked ambition, and the value of true wisdom over mere knowledge. Integrity is the foundation of a life well lived, a guiding principle that helps us navigate the challenges and temptations of the world. Unchecked ambition can lead to destruction, as seen in the teacher's jealousy and the harm it caused. True wisdom, on the other hand, is the ability to see beyond appearances, to understand the deeper truths of life, and to act with compassion and insight. Ames's journey reminds us that even in the face of betrayal and loss, we can find strength and meaning. By embracing the teachings of the middle way, cultivating mindfulness, and nurturing our inner wisdom, we can live with greater freedom and joy, appreciating the sweetness of life without becoming ensnared by its illusions. The injustice Ames felt was like a scorching fire within his chest, an unyielding acid that ate away at the core of his being. This pain of betrayal by those he had once trusted began to morph into something far darker and more perilous. In his shattered state, Ames encountered a group of bandits who saw in him a kindred spirit, a man whose bitterness and latent strength could be harnessed for their lawless existence. These men, living beyond the reach of society's laws and moral codes, welcomed him with the acceptance he had been denied by the so-called respectable world. They fed his resentment with tales of their own grievances, of how the world had wronged them, and how society deserved to pay for its hypocrisy and cruelty. Under their influence, and through the lens of his own growing hatred, Immerse began to believe that the only response to the injustice he had suffered was to become the monster society had falsely accused him of being. If the world insisted on seeing him as dangerous and evil, he would give them exactly what they expected. The transformation from Immerse, the scholar, to Angular Molla was not immediate, but once it began, it progressed with alarming speed. He adopted a new name that would strike fear into the hearts of those who heard it: Angular Molla, the garland of fingers. For he began the horrific practice of killing travelers and cutting off one finger from each victim, creating a gruesome necklace that symbolized his complete rejection of human compassion. Society's role in Angular Molla's descent into darkness cannot be understated. The very community that once praised Immerse as a scholar turned its back on him, casting him out into the wilderness of alienation and scorn. The hypocrisy of those who had once called him friend only deepened his wounds. The bandits' narratives, filled with bitterness and revenge, resonated with Angular Molla's own sense of injustice, fueling his rage and justifying his actions. Society's failure to see beyond the surface of his transformation, to recognize the man he once was, pushed him further into the arms of destruction. The collective narratives shared by the bandits became his own, blurring the lines between victim and perpetrator, driving him down a path from which he saw no escape. As Angular Molla, Immerse's actions became the stuff of nightmares. For months, he terrorized the countryside, earning the title of the most feared serial killer in the region. He would lie in wait along forest paths and mountain roads, attacking lone travelers with a savagery that seemed to defy human comprehension. His garland of fingers grew longer with each murder, a chilling testament to his reign of terror. Merchants avoided certain routes, and entire villages shuttered their doors at sunset, dreading the shadow that lurked in the woods. By the time he had committed his 999th murder, Angular Molla had become a figure so terrifying that even the bravest warriors steered clear of the forests he haunted. He needed only one more finger to complete his grotesque garland of 1,000. He vowed that once he reached this number, he would seek out and kill the teacher whose betrayal had set him on this path of destruction. It was at this critical juncture that Buddha, aware of the immense suffering Angular Molla was both experiencing and causing, made the compassionate decision to enter the very forest where Angular Molla hunted. Despite dire warnings from villagers and even his own disciples, Buddha walked alone into the dangerous wilderness. He was not ignorant of the risks, but possessed a profound understanding that sometimes the greatest love requires confronting the greatest darkness. As Buddha moved serenely along the forest path, enjoying the morning light filtering through the leaves and the songs of birds unaware of human violence, he sensed he was being stalked. The presence moved through the trees with the skill of a predator, a master of hunting human beings. When Angular Molla finally emerged, his appearance was enough to paralyze most with fear. A towering figure, he bore the marks of a life lived violently in the wilderness. His wild, matted hair, blood-stained clothes, and the horrific necklace of 999 human fingers marked him as a man seemingly beyond redemption. But Buddha saw what others could not. Beneath the rage and violence, he perceived the remnants of the gentle scholar Immerse had once been. More importantly, he saw the Buddha nature within Angular Molla, untouched and intact despite all he had done. This recognition filled Buddha's heart with infinite compassion for the suffering that had driven Angular Molla to such extremes. As Angular Molla ran toward Buddha, weapon raised, intending to make him his 1,000th victim, something extraordinary happened. Though Buddha continued walking at his peaceful pace, Angular Molla found himself unable to close the distance. No matter how fast he ran, Buddha remained just beyond his reach. as if the very laws of space and time had bent to protect compassion from violence. Exhausted and bewildered, Angulimala called out in frustration, his voice carrying the first crack in the armor of hatred he had built around his heart. "Stop, monk!" he shouted. "Why can't I catch you?" Buddha turned to face him, speaking words that would change everything. "Angulimala," he said with infinite gentleness, "I have stopped. It is you who are still running." These words struck Angulimala like lightning, illuminating a landscape hidden in darkness for so long. In that instant, he understood Buddha was not speaking about physical movement, but a deeper truth of existence. Buddha had stopped running from life, from pain, and from the truth of what it means to be human. But Angulimala had been running for so long from betrayal, from his own goodness, from peace. He had forgotten what it felt like to be still. The weapon fell from Angulimala's hands as this realization penetrated his consciousness. For the first time since his transformation from scholar to killer, he saw himself clearly. Not as the monster he had convinced himself he needed to be, but as a human being who had been running from his own heart. He collapsed to his knees before Buddha, his eyes now filled with tears of recognition and remorse. "Master," he whispered, his voice breaking under the weight of countless unspoken sorrows. "Is it possible for someone like me to find peace? Can someone who has done what I have done ever be forgiven? Is there any hope for a heart that has chosen darkness for so long?" Buddha knelt beside him, placing a gentle hand on Angulimala's shoulder, offering the unconditional love he gave to all beings, regardless of their past actions. "My dear friend," he said, his voice carrying the authority of one who had seen the deepest truths of existence. "There is no darkness so deep that the light of awakening cannot penetrate it. There is no past so terrible that it cannot be transformed by the power of genuine remorse and sincere commitment to change. The Buddha nature within you has never been touched by any of your actions. It has been waiting patiently for you to stop running and recognize its presence." In these words, Angulimala found the seeds of redemption and the path to forgiveness. He finally understood that the shadows of his past could be illuminated by the light of self-awareness and the possibility of transformation. With Buddha's guidance, he began the spiritual journey towards inner peace, embracing the potential for change within himself. His story became a testament to the power of compassion, the depth of human resilience, and the universal potential for redemption and forgiveness. In recognizing the Buddha nature within, Angulimala found his way back to the path of light. Angulimala's story is one of the most compelling tales of transformation and redemption in the annals of spiritual history. Once a feared serial killer, he became a revered disciple of Buddha, embodying the profound change that is possible through dedicated practice and awakened understanding. Angulimala's transformation was so complete and genuine that he attained the state of an arhat, achieving enlightenment akin to Buddha's most advanced students. This remarkable journey was marked by his deep commitment to the three jewels: the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, which served as the guiding lights on his path to spiritual awakening. The power of the three jewels lies in their capacity to guide and transform. The Buddha represents the ideal of enlightenment. The Dharma is the path of teachings leading to that enlightenment, and the Sangha is the community that supports and nurtures spiritual growth. For Angulimala, these elements were not abstract concepts, but living truths that catalyzed his profound transformation. The stages of spiritual awakening are often marked by a deepening understanding of these principles and a growing capacity to embody them in everyday life. Angulimala's journey was a testament to this process as he moved from darkness into light, from violence into peace. His story challenges societal perceptions of change, illustrating that even the most feared individuals can find redemption through sincere practice and inner transformation. Despite his profound transformation, Angulimala faced significant challenges upon returning to society. His past actions cast a long shadow, and he was often met with fear and hatred. People recognized him as the notorious killer he once was, and their reactions were harsh and unforgiving. Stones were thrown, curses shouted, and many demanded his execution. Angulimala's acceptance of these reactions was a testament to his understanding of karma and the natural consequences of his past actions. He realized that the duality of public redemption was complex. While he had genuinely changed, societal judgment was not easily swayed. Overcoming this judgment required immense patience and a deep understanding of the nature of karma. He accepted that people's fear and anger were reflections of their own attachments and fears, not of his present reality. This awareness allowed him to transcend the hostility he encountered, remaining peaceful and centered in his new life. The role of patience in spiritual transformation cannot be overstated. Angulimala's journey illustrates that true change is not only about personal transformation, but also about allowing others the time to recognize and accept that change. Buddha's teachings on karma and transformation provided Angulimala with profound insights into handling continued rejection. Buddha explained that when someone throws a stone and you do not pick it up, the stone remains with the thrower. Similarly, when people offer anger and hatred, if you do not accept these emotions into your heart, they remain with those offering them. This teaching emphasized the importance of living from one's current truth rather than past shadows. Angulimala's transformation was complete and genuine, but others needed time to recognize this change. Some may never see past his former actions to the enlightened being he had become. This was their burden to carry, not his. Buddha's teachings on karma often challenge common misconceptions. Karma is not a punitive force, but a natural consequence of actions. Understanding this allows for emotional resilience in the face of hostility and rejection. The journey from personal guilt to public forgiveness is a complex one, requiring both individual transformation and societal acceptance. In his later years, Angulimala became a model of compassion and wisdom, helping others find peace and serving as a testament to the potential for transformation within everyone. His story became legendary, not as an example of human evil, but as proof of the infinite capacity for transformation that exists within every being. Role models in spiritual communities play a crucial role in illustrating the potential for change and growth. Angulimala's life was a ripple effect of personal transformation, inspiring countless others to embark on their spiritual journeys. His story serves as a vessel of moral lessons, reminding us that no matter how far anyone has fallen, the potential for awakening remains intact within every heart. The philosophy that enlightenment and transformation are possible for everyone, regardless of past actions, is a central theme in Angulimala's story. This belief emphasizes the boundless capacity for love and change, encouraging individuals to stop running from their true selves. The nature of Buddha's enlightenment is a reminder that all beings possess the Buddha nature, waiting patiently for the moment when they are ready to come home to their true selves. Psychological barriers to self-acceptance often prevent individuals from embracing their potential for transformation. Self-love plays a crucial role in spiritual growth, providing the foundation for genuine change and awakening. Angulimala's journey exemplifies this philosophy, illustrating that love is stronger than hatred, and that within every heart lies the infinite potential for awakening. Kassapa, a monk renowned for his extreme ascetic practices, believed that enlightenment required complete mortification of the body and denial of all physical desires. His rigorous discipline reflected a commitment to self-discipline that surpassed all others. Kassapa's belief in the necessity of bodily mortification for enlightenment was rooted in historical accounts of great sages who achieved profound realizations through severe austerities. However, His practices raised concerns within his community, as his physical and spiritual well-being seemed to suffer. The history of ascetic practices is rich and varied, with many traditions advocating for a balance between discipline and self-care. Kasapa's approach, however, highlighted the dangers of extreme practices and the potential for harm when the body is neglected in the pursuit of spiritual goals. Cultural perceptions of extreme spiritual practices often romanticize the idea of sacrifice and discipline, but they can also obscure the importance of nurturing the body and mind in harmony. The encounter between Kasapa and a young boy illustrates the contrast between the monk's rigid beliefs and the child's innocent compassion. The boy, with his natural concern and empathy, questioned the wisdom of Kasapa's extreme practices. This dialogue highlighted the importance of compassion in spiritual discourse and questioned the necessity of extreme asceticism. The role of innocence in spiritual insight is often underestimated. Children, unburdened by the complexities of adult reasoning, can offer fresh perspectives that challenge established norms and traditions. The boy's simple question prompted Kasapa to reflect on his practices and consider the possibility that compassion and kindness were as vital to spiritual growth as discipline. Questioning tradition through new perspectives is a vital part of spiritual evolution. It allows for the integration of compassion and wisdom, ensuring that spiritual practices remain relevant and life-affirming. Kasapa's story serves as a cautionary tale about the potential dangers of misguided spiritual pursuits. His community's mixed reactions to his practices reflected broader concerns about the fine line between dedication and obsession. Community responsibility in spiritual practices involves supporting individuals in their pursuit of enlightenment, while also ensuring that their well-being is not compromised. Lessons from historical figures on spiritual paths often highlight the importance of balance and moderation. Kasapa's experience reminds us that while dedication to spiritual goals is admirable, it should not come at the expense of physical and mental health. As we reflect on these stories of transformation and spiritual pursuit, we are reminded that the path to enlightenment is not a solitary journey. It is one that involves community, compassion, and the courage to question and evolve. In the end, both Angulimala and Kasapa illustrate that true liberation comes from within, guided by wisdom, compassion, and the unwavering belief in the infinite potential of every being. "Please take this," the boy said with the matter of fact kindness that comes naturally to those who haven't yet learned to complicate simple acts of care. "My mother always packs more than I need, and you look like you need it much more than I do. It's not very much, but it might help you feel stronger." The Kasapa stared at the offered food, his mind immediately engaged in an intense internal struggle. His rigorous discipline demanded that he refuse this offering, that he maintain his fast as a demonstration of his commitment to transcending bodily needs. But something about the child's genuine concern, the pure motivation behind the gift, and the simple humanity of the moment began to crack through the rigid walls he had built around his heart. For the first time in months, Kasapa really looked at the person standing before him, instead of seeing him merely as a test of his spiritual resolve. He saw the boy's bright eyes full of natural compassion, the way he held the food with both eagerness to help and patience to wait for a response. In that moment, Kasapa began to realize that in his single-minded pursuit of personal liberation, he had lost touch with something essential: the capacity to receive and respond to the love that others offered. Almost without conscious decision, Kasapa found himself reaching out to accept the boy's gift. As he took the simple food in his trembling hands, he felt something shift inside his chest, a warmth he hadn't experienced in years. A recognition that spiritual practice might involve more than just the endless denial of human connection. As he ate the bread and fruit, the first food he had tasted in 4 days, Kassapa felt not just the return of physical strength, but something far more profound. He realized that in his determination to transcend the world, he had actually withdrawn from the very relationships through which enlightenment might naturally unfold. He had been so focused on his own purification that he had forgotten something fundamental about the spiritual path. The boy watched with satisfaction as some color returned to Kassapa's pale cheeks, then continued on his way with the simple joy of someone who had helped another person without needing any recognition or reward. But for Kassapa, this brief encounter had initiated a profound transformation in his understanding that left him both grateful and deeply confused. Over the following days, Kassapa found himself reflecting on what had occurred. He knew he needed guidance to understand this shift in his perspective. He had heard that Buddha was teaching at a grove not far from the monastery, and he decided to seek the wisdom of the enlightened master, who was known for his deep understanding of the spiritual path. When Kassapa found Buddha surrounded by disciples beneath a great banyan tree, he approached with the humility of someone whose certainties had been shaken in the most necessary way. He prostrated himself before the teacher and shared his story. His years of extreme fasting, the encounter with the village boy, and the confusion this had created about everything he thought he understood about spiritual practice. "Blessed one," Kassapa said, his voice carrying both respect and vulnerability. "I have devoted years to the strictest discipline, believing that by denying my body all comfort, I was purifying my spirit. But a young boy's simple act of kindness has made me question everything. When I accepted his food, I felt something awaken in my heart that years of fasting had never achieved. Have I been practicing wrongly all this time? Oh, what is the true relationship between discipline and compassion on the path to enlightenment?" The Buddha listened with the gentle attention he gave to all sincere seekers, his eyes reflecting both understanding and compassion for this monk's genuine struggle. When Kassapa finished speaking, Buddha smiled with the warmth of someone who had seen many students discover this same crucial understanding. "My dear Kassapa," Buddha began, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had walked every aspect of the spiritual path. "Just as a bird needs 2 wings to fly, so does a seeker of truth need both wisdom and compassion. Discipline without compassion leads to rigidity and spiritual pride. Compassion without discipline can lead to indulgence and lack of focus. But when these 2 qualities are balanced and integrated, they become the very foundation of enlightenment itself. Your years of practice were not wasted, but they were incomplete. True spiritual development requires both the inner work of purification and the outer expression of love. That child became your teacher because he showed you what your heart already knew, but your mind had forgotten. But that awakening flourishes when we remain open to both giving and receiving the natural flow of human kindness. Extreme austerity can be a useful tool for developing self-discipline, but it becomes an obstacle when it hardens the heart against the very connections that allow wisdom to flower into compassion. The middle path I teach is not about finding a compromise between extremes, but about discovering the dynamic balance where discipline serves love and compassion is guided by wisdom. Continue your meditation practice. Maintain your ethical conduct, but do so with an open heart that can receive the gifts others offer and respond with your own gifts of understanding and care. When you practice this way, you will discover that spiritual progress accelerates because you are working with the natural flow of existence rather than against it. From that day forward, Kassapa returned to his monastery with a completely transformed understanding of the spiritual path. He continued to maintain discipline in his meditation and daily routine, but he also opened his heart to the community around him. finding that when wisdom and compassion were integrated, his practice deepened in ways he had never imagined possible. Years later, when Kassapa had become known not for his extreme fasting, but for the balanced wisdom and genuine kindness that radiated from his being, he would often think of that village boy whose simple act of compassion had opened the door to Buddha's profound teaching about the two wings of awakening. He understood then that the spiritual path is not about escaping from human connection, but about engaging with life from a place of greater wisdom and love, where discipline and compassion dance together in perfect harmony. One day, Buddha was sitting peacefully with his disciples when they were approached by a group of monks who appeared troubled. Among them walked a young brother whose face showed the unmistakable signs of someone who had given up on something important. His shoulders sagging with disappointment and his eyes avoiding direct contact with his teacher. The senior monks bowed respectfully before Buddha, then gently urged their struggling companion forward. "Master," one of them said with concern, "this brother took a sacred vow to remain in solitary meditation until he achieved a breakthrough in his practice. But after only a short time, he has returned, feeling defeated and lost." A Buddha looked at the young monk with compassion. He recognized the familiar struggle of someone who had yet to find the balance between perseverance and the wisdom to adapt. "My child," Buddha said, "the path to enlightenment is not a straight line. It is a journey filled with challenges that test both your resolve and your ability to learn from each experience. Remember, even the most dedicated seeker must sometimes pause to reflect and adjust their course. The middle path is not just a philosophical concept, but a living practice that invites you to balance effort with acceptance. As you continue on your journey, do so with patience and self-compassion. Know that every step, even those that seem like setbacks, contributes to your growth." The young monk listened intently, feeling a renewed sense of hope and determination from Buddha's words. He realized that his struggle was not a sign of failure, but an opportunity to learn and grow. As he bowed to Buddha, he felt a new resolve to continue his practice with an open heart and mind, ready to embrace both the challenges and the joys of the path. And so, the lesson of the two wings of awakening continued to inspire all who heard it, reminding them that true enlightenment arises from the harmonious dance of wisdom and compassion. In the realm of leadership, there exists a profound power in compassion, a quality that transcends the mere act of guiding others and transforms it into a journey of mutual growth and understanding. Buddha exemplified this principle as he looked upon the young monk, not with the harshness of judgment, but with the softness of empathy. Compassion allows a leader to connect on a deeper level, seeing beyond surface failures to the potential that lies beneath. It embraces the notion that everyone is on a unique path, with struggles that are often invisible to the eye, but deeply felt in the heart. The Buddha's approach demonstrated that compassionate leadership does not shy away from truth. Rather, it embraces it with kindness, creating a safe space for others to confront their challenges without fear of condemnation. This style of leadership contrasts sharply with judgmental approaches, which often stifle growth and discourage open communication. By fostering an environment where individuals feel valued and understood, a compassionate leader can inspire greater commitment and resilience in their followers. The young monk's struggle with self-doubt is a mirror reflecting the inner battles faced by many on the path of spiritual and personal development. These feelings of inadequacy and uncertainty can feel overwhelming, making the road ahead seem insurmountable. Yet, it is through acknowledging these feelings that one begins to transcend them. In moments of doubt, self-reflection becomes a powerful tool. By turning inward, one can identify the roots of their insecurities and begin to address them with self-compassion. This process involves recognizing one's worth and potential, independent of external achievements or validations. Techniques such as mindfulness, meditation, and journaling can assist in this journey, providing clarity and a sense of peace amidst the turmoil. Self-doubt, while a formidable foe, can be transformed into a catalyst for growth when approached with patience and understanding. The concept of past lives is woven into the fabric of many spiritual traditions, offering insights into the lessons carried from one existence to the next. In the story of the Bodhisattva, we find a reservoir of wisdom and determination that extends beyond the confines of a single lifetime. These past experiences serve as a reminder that the strengths we possess today are often the cumulative result of countless trials and triumphs endured in previous lives. Karma, the universal law of cause and effect, plays a crucial role in this process, guiding individuals toward opportunities for growth and redemption. By recalling past achievements, one can draw upon a wellspring of inner strength and perseverance, using it to navigate present challenges with greater confidence and resolve. The parable of the desert caravan is a vivid illustration of the human spirit's capacity to overcome adversity through perseverance and ingenuity. Faced with what seemed an insurmountable obstacle, the Bodhisattva's leadership shone as a beacon of hope, guiding his followers through the treacherous sands of doubt and despair. Symbolism abounds in this tale, with the desert representing the vast expanse of life's challenges, and the oasis symbolizing the breakthrough moments that await those who refuse to yield to defeat. The caravan's journey underscores the importance of persistence and creative problem-solving, qualities that are indispensable in the face of life's uncertainties. Through this story, we are reminded that even in the darkest moments, there exists the potential for renewal and success. Intuition is a subtle yet powerful force that often guides individuals toward the right path, even when logic and reason seem to falter. In the Bodhisattva's tale, it was intuition that led him to discover the hidden water source, a testament to the inner strength that resides within us all. Cultivating intuition involves quieting the noise of external influences and attuning oneself to the inner voice that whispers truths often drowned out by doubt. This process can be enhanced through practices such as meditation, which fosters a deeper connection to one's core self. Distinguishing intuition from impulsive decisions is crucial, as true intuition is rooted in clarity and calmness, while impulsivity is driven by anxiety and haste. Perseverance, coupled with hope, forms the backbone of the human spirit's resilience. In times of despair, it is hope that fuels the will to continue, and perseverance that transforms hope into reality. The Bodhisattva's unwavering determination in the face of overwhelming odds exemplifies this principle, reminding us that success often lies just beyond the point where most would give up. History is replete with figures who have embodied these qualities, from inventors who revolutionized the world through countless failures to leaders who inspired nations with their steadfast resolve. Their stories serve as a testament to the power of perseverance, encouraging us to find strength in our own moments of struggle. The journey of self-discovery is a lifelong endeavor, one that requires a willingness to explore the depths of one's being and confront the shadows that lurk within. Buddha's reminder to the young monk about his inherent strength and potential is a call to action for all of us, urging us to reconnect with our true selves. This process involves shedding the layers of doubt and insecurity that obscure our vision, allowing us to see ourselves in the light of our fullest capabilities. Practices such as self-reflection, meditation, and seeking guidance from mentors can aid in this quest, providing insights that illuminate the path to self-realization. In the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment, the balance between faith and rationality is essential. Faith serves as a motivator, propelling us toward unseen possibilities, while rationality grounds us in practical efforts and strategic planning. The young monk's journey illustrates this delicate interplay, highlighting the necessity of both believing in the potential for growth and taking concrete steps to achieve it. Faith, when coupled with rational action, becomes a powerful force for transformation, guiding individuals toward the realization of their highest aspirations. As this chapter closes, we are reminded that the path to enlightenment is not a linear journey, but a complex tapestry woven from the threads of compassion, perseverance, and self-discovery. By embracing these principles, we can navigate the challenges of life with grace and emerge stronger and wiser, ready to face whatever lies ahead. In the serene landscape of the monastery, the young monk's journey was a tapestry woven from moments of doubt and the profound realization of his own potential for enlightenment. He had embarked on this journey with the weight of uncertainty pressing heavily upon his shoulders. Yet as he bowed before his master, a new light ignited within him. It was a light born of understanding, not only of the teachings imparted to him, but also of the innate wisdom that resided deep within his own consciousness. This realization marked the beginning of his transformation from doubt to determination. Meditation became his compass, guiding him through the labyrinth of his mind. In the stillness of his practice, he discovered the hidden springs of wisdom that flowed beneath the surface of ordinary consciousness. These moments of clarity were not merely fleeting glimpses, but profound insights that shaped his path towards spiritual awakening. The teachings of his mentor were like seeds sown in fertile soil, nurturing his growth and leading him toward the realization that enlightenment was not an unattainable goal, but an inevitable destination for those who persevered with unwavering commitment. The young monk's journey was a testament to the power of mentorship in spiritual growth. His teacher, a beacon of wisdom and compassion, illuminated the path with gentle guidance, helping him navigate the challenges and doubts that arose along the way. Through the practice of mindfulness and the cultivation of inner stillness, the young monk learned to overcome the self-doubt that once clouded his vision. He understood that the journey to enlightenment was not a solitary endeavor, but a shared experience, enriched by the support and wisdom of those who had walked the path before him. In a vibrant village nestled amid fertile fields, Danjaya, a wealthy merchant, stood as a symbol of success. His life was a tapestry woven from threads of material abundance, yet beneath this opulent exterior lay a profound emptiness that gnawed at his soul. Danjaya's vast fortune was the result of years of astute trading, careful investments, and an uncanny ability to seize opportunities that others overlooked. His wealth afforded him the finest luxuries, from grand houses filled with precious artworks to gardens blooming with rare flowers. Yet, despite his material success, a persistent sense of dissatisfaction lingered within him. This paradox of wealth and happiness was a reflection of society's narrow definition of success, which often overlooked the importance of inner peace and fulfillment. Danjaya's story was a stark reminder of the illusion that material wealth could serve as a path to happiness. The societal pressures and expectations that defined his life only served to deepen his sense of emptiness. Each new acquisition brought fleeting excitement, followed by the familiar return of longing for something more. Danjaya's journey was a testament to the psychological impact of continuous dissatisfaction, a reminder that true contentment could not be found in the accumulation of wealth, but in the exploration of one's inner world. In his quest for answers, Danjaya turned to Buddha, the great spiritual teacher known for his profound understanding of the human heart. Buddha's presence was a stark contrast to Danjaya's opulence, yet it was this very simplicity that commanded the deepest respect. As a spiritual guide, Buddha embodied the qualities of compassion, wisdom, and understanding. His teachings addressed the existential dilemmas that plagued individuals like Danjaya, offering unique insights that challenged conventional thinking. Through his patient and empathetic approach, Buddha illuminated the path to personal transformation, helping his followers discover the root causes of their suffering. The impact of spiritual teachers like Buddha lay in their ability to provide guidance that transcended material concerns, leading their disciples toward a deeper understanding of themselves and the world around them. Buddha's teachings were not mere doctrines, but living truths that resonated with the hearts of those who sought his wisdom. At the heart of Buddha's teachings was the concept of true contentment, a state of being that transcended temporary satisfaction and led to lasting peace. Danjaya's journey toward understanding this concept was a reflection of the broader human struggle to find fulfillment in a world focused on external success. Buddha's wisdom addressed the root causes of dissatisfaction, emphasizing the importance of inner peace over external achievements. He taught that true contentment arose from the acceptance of life's impermanence and the practice of mindfulness, which allowed individuals to cultivate a sense of gratitude for the present moment. Through inner reflection and the practice of mindfulness, Danjaya began to unravel the layers of his discontent, discovering that the answers he sought lay not in the external world, but within himself. Buddha's teachings on worry were a revelation to Danjaya, who had long been plagued by anxieties that no amount of material success could alleviate. Buddha explained that the source of worry was often rooted in a misunderstanding of the nature of the mind. Material solutions, he taught, could not address the deeper psychological issues that gave rise to worry. Instead, the path to overcoming persistent concerns lay in the practice of mindfulness and acceptance. By observing his thoughts without judgment, Danjaya learned to detach from the incessant stream of worries that had once consumed him. Through mindfulness practices, he discovered the psychological benefits of living in the present moment, where worries about the past and future held no power. In his interactions with Buddha, Danjaya was introduced to the concept of spiritual wishes, a transformative idea that shifted his focus from superficial desires to deeper existential concerns. Buddha's granting of spiritual wishes was not an act of magic, but a profound invitation to explore the true nature of desire and intention. Through the lens of spiritual wisdom, Danjaya learned to differentiate between material and spiritual desires, recognizing that true transformation came from aligning his intentions with a higher purpose. These spiritual wishes became a catalyst for personal growth, guiding him toward a deeper understanding of himself and the world. Danjaya's emotional journey from desperation to hope was a testament to the power of humility and openness to new perspectives. His interactions with Buddha highlighted the importance of embracing vulnerability in the pursuit of wisdom. By acknowledging his own limitations and seeking guidance from a higher source, Danjaya discovered that the path to fulfillment was not a solitary one, but a shared journey enriched by the insights of others. Hope became a guiding light, illuminating the path toward personal growth and transformation. Buddha's patient approach to teaching Danjaya demonstrated the importance of patience in the process of learning and personal growth. Through his compassionate guidance, Buddha exemplified the art of listening and its impact on personal connections. By fostering an environment of understanding and empathy, Buddha created a space where Danjaya could explore his innermost fears and desires without judgment. The lessons in patience and understanding were not only integral to Danjaya's transformation, but also a reflection of the broader spiritual traditions that emphasized the value of compassionate mentorship. As Danjaya's journey unfolded, it became clear that the path to enlightenment was not a destination, but a continuous journey of self-discovery and growth. In the presence of a wise teacher and through the practice of mindfulness, he found the courage to confront his deepest fears and embrace the transformative power of spiritual wisdom. as we conclude this chapter. Let us carry forward the lessons of humility, patience, and the quest for true contentment as they light the way toward our own journeys of awakening. The journey to understanding one's own mind begins with the practice of mindfulness, a powerful tool that allows individuals to relate differently to the thoughts that arise within them. Mindfulness teaches us to observe our worries, much like clouds passing through the sky of consciousness. These worries, often the source of our stress and anxiety, lose their power when we stop grasping at them. Instead, we learn to watch them come and go naturally, without attachment or judgment. This transformation in thinking can lead to profound mental peace. Practicing mindfulness involves several techniques, such as focusing on the breath, observing sensations in the body, and being attentive to the present moment. These practices help in regulating emotions and reducing stress, as they encourage a non-judgmental awareness of thoughts and feelings. Historically, mindfulness has roots in ancient meditation traditions, particularly within Buddhism, where it is seen as a path to enlightenment. By training the mind to focus and observe, mindfulness cultivates a sense of clarity and calmness, enabling individuals to navigate life's challenges with greater ease. Desires are often at the heart of our inner restlessness, driving us toward ever more achievements and acquisitions in the hope of finding satisfaction. However, this pursuit often leads to disappointment, as desires are insatiable and ever-changing. Simply wishing for freedom from desires is ineffective, because these cravings are deeply ingrained in our psyche. The psychological origins of desires can be traced to basic human needs for security, love, and self-esteem. However, societal expectations often exacerbate these desires, pushing individuals to seek validation through material possessions and status. To reduce material cravings, it is essential to understand their underlying causes and to cultivate contentment with what we already have. Practices such as gratitude journaling and reflecting on personal values can help shift focus from external acquisitions to internal fulfillment. Danjai's journey highlights a crucial realization: external solutions cannot resolve internal problems. This understanding marks a significant shift from seeking external changes to addressing internal issues. Many individuals, like Danjaya, pursue external successes in the hope of achieving happiness, only to find that these achievements fail to satisfy their deeper longings. Case studies of people who have undergone similar realizations often reveal a turning point where introspection leads to personal growth and fulfillment. Through self-reflection, individuals begin to understand that true satisfaction comes from within, and that external accomplishments, while important, are not the ultimate source of happiness. Danjai's third wish for self-understanding signifies a pivotal moment in his search for true contentment. Self-awareness and insight are essential in achieving personal satisfaction, as they allow individuals to recognize their true needs and desires. Various methods of self-reflection, such as journaling, meditation, and therapy, offer valuable insights into one's inner world. These practices encourage an honest examination of thoughts and emotions, leading to a deeper understanding of oneself. In various philosophical traditions, true contentment is viewed as a state of being that arises from within, independent of external circumstances. Practical exercises, such as mindfulness meditation and reflective writing, can enhance self-awareness and promote a sense of inner peace. Under Buddha's guidance, Danjaya learned the art of meditation and self-reflection, tools that helped him uncover the source of his dissatisfaction. Meditation techniques vary, but all share the goal of cultivating a quiet and focused mind. Some methods emphasize concentration, where the practitioner focuses on a single point of reference, while others encourage open monitoring, observing thoughts and sensations without attachment. Scientific research supports the benefits of meditation, showing that regular practice can improve mental clarity and emotional resilience. Creating a personal meditation routine involves setting aside time each day to sit quietly, focus on the breath, and observe the mind's activity. Over time, meditation fosters a sense of inner calm and helps individuals connect with their true selves. Through his practice, Danjaya experienced a profound transformation, discovering the concept of inner wealth. This newfound understanding revealed that true happiness comes from appreciating what one already has, rather than constantly seeking more. The philosophy of minimalism aligns with this idea, encouraging individuals to focus on what truly matters and to find joy in simplicity. Stories of people who have embraced minimalism often illustrate the freedom and contentment that come from living with less. Exercises such as gratitude practices and mindful appreciation can help individuals cultivate a sense of fulfillment and gratitude for the present moment. The story of the golden fish serves as a powerful symbol of true freedom and contentment in nature. Matsya's pursuit of the fish parallels Danjaya's journey, illustrating the broader human quest for fulfillment. The golden fish, with its radiant scales and graceful movements, represents the beauty and freedom found in living authentically and harmoniously. Symbolically, the fish embodies the unattainable nature of external desires, reminding us that true fulfillment comes from within. The relationship between nature and inner peace is evident in many spiritual traditions, where nature is seen as a source of inspiration and wisdom. Stories and folklore often use such symbols to convey lessons about the pursuit of happiness and the importance of inner contentment. The natural setting of the river and forest serves as a metaphor for the interconnectedness of life and the peace that comes from living in harmony with nature. Nature teaches us about balance and contentment, offering insights into the cycles of life and the importance of living in harmony with the environment. Ecological insights reveal the deep connection between human well-being and the health of the natural world. Activities such as spending time in nature, gardening, and observing wildlife can foster a sense of connection and enhance mental health. By learning from nature, we can cultivate a deeper appreciation for the world around us and find inspiration in its beauty and resilience. In conclusion, Danjaya's journey illustrates the transformative power of self-understanding and mindfulness. Through the practice of meditation and self-reflection, he discovered that true contentment comes from within and is not dependent on external circumstances. By embracing the wisdom of nature and the teachings of mindfulness, we too can find peace and fulfillment in our own lives. As we move forward, let us remember that true wealth lies not in what we possess externally, but in our capacity to appreciate and find contentment in the present moment. In the world of myths and legends, the golden fish is a creature of profound significance. Its shimmering scales and mystical presence have made it a symbol of rare opportunity and beauty, a creature that embodies the allure of the extraordinary amid the mundane. To Matsya the fisherman, the golden fish was the embodiment of his deepest dreams and desires. For months, he had cast his net into the waters, hoping for a catch that would change his fortunes. Yet, the allure of the golden fish went beyond its physical beauty. It represented a moral dilemma, a test of character, and a mirror reflecting the broader themes of captivity and freedom. Gold has long been a symbol of wealth and power, often associated with the divine in various mythologies. In many cultures, golden creatures are seen as messengers from the gods or harbingers of great change. The golden fish, in particular, is often depicted as a creature of wisdom and mystery, an entity that challenges those who encounter it to look beyond material desires and consider the deeper truths of life. As Matsya gazed upon the fish, he was struck by its inner light, a glow that seemed to speak of ancient secrets and divine knowledge. Its eyes, filled with intelligence and awareness, seemed to communicate a plea that transcended words. It was as if the fish understood its predicament and was appealing to the better nature of the fisherman. In that moment, Matsya was faced with a choice that would define him: to follow the path of greed or to embrace the call of compassion. Matsya's heart was a battlefield of conflicting emotions as he held the golden fish in his hands. On one side was the excitement and relief of having captured something so valuable, a prize that could lift him and his family out of poverty. The prospect of selling the fish to the king and securing a fortune was a temptation that few could resist. Yet, on the other side was the growing unease that gnawed at his conscience. The fish's distress was palpable, its thrashing a silent cry for freedom. Matsya's momentary hesitation was a reflection of his inner turmoil, the struggle between personal gain and the moral responsibility to another living being. Greed is a powerful force, often clouding judgment and leading individuals down paths they might not otherwise choose. In Matsya's case, the promise of wealth was a siren's song, pulling him toward a decision that his heart resisted. The ethical struggle he faced was not just about the fish, but about the kind of person he wanted to be. Could he look beyond his immediate needs and see the broader picture? Could he act with empathy and compassion, even when it meant sacrificing his own desires? These questions haunted him as he prepared to sell the fish, each step toward the palace a reminder of the moral crossroads at which he stood. As Matsya was lost in thought, fate intervened in the form of an encounter with a group of monks walking along the forest path. Among them was Buddha, whose presence exuded a peaceful dignity that was impossible to ignore. Though Matsya did not immediately recognize Buddha, the gentle aura of compassion that surrounded him was unmistakable. Buddha's attention was drawn to the scene by the river. His deep spiritual awareness allowed him to perceive not only the physical, but also the emotional and moral dimensions of the situation. He saw the distress of the golden fish, the fisherman's excited plans, and the moral choice that lay before Matsya. Approaching with kindness and curiosity, Buddha engaged Matsya in conversation. He asked about the fisherman's plans for the beautiful creature, listening patiently as Matsya explained his intent to sell the fish for a fortune. Buddha's response was not one of judgment, but of gentle persuasion. He spoke of the fish's desire for freedom, its right to life, and the potential rewards of choosing compassion over material gain. Buddha's words were a catalyst for change, planting the seeds of doubt in Matsya's mind and encouraging him to see beyond his immediate concerns. Through his interaction with Buddha, Matsya was introduced to a new concept of wealth, one that was not measured in gold or possessions, but in the peace of mind that comes from living in harmony with one's values. Buddha spoke of the prison of greed and attachment, explaining how these chains keep the heart in constant turmoil. True wealth, he said, lies in the joy that comes from choosing kindness over cruelty, freedom over captivity, and compassion over selfishness. Buddha's teachings resonated deeply within Matsya, challenging him to reconsider his priorities and the path he wished to follow. The idea that releasing the fish could bring a reward far greater than any material payment was a revelation. It suggested a richness to life that transcended the physical and touched the spiritual. This perspective offered Matsya a chance for personal transformation, an opportunity to redefine what truly mattered in his life. The decision to release the golden fish marked a turning point for Matsya, a moment of transformation and redemption. As he watched the fish swim joyfully back into the river, he felt a sense of liberation that was both profound and unexpected. The chains of greed that had bound his heart began to fall away, replaced by a lightness that came from acting with compassion. Matsya's choice to embrace empathy over profit had immediate and long-term effects on his life. In the moments following his decision, he experienced a profound sense of peace, a feeling of contentment that seemed to emanate from the very core of his being. Over time, this inner tranquility began to manifest in his external circumstances as well. Though he had not gained wealth in the traditional sense, Matsya found that his life was richer in ways he could never have anticipated. He discovered the joy of living in accordance with his highest values, treating all beings with respect and compassion, and finding contentment in simple pleasures rather than material abundance. The teachings that Buddha shared with Matsya were rooted in his own experiences and the wisdom he had gained over many lifetimes. In one of his previous incarnations, Buddha had been a prince, blessed with great wealth and luxury. Despite his privileged circumstances, the prince was driven by an overwhelming compassion for all living beings, a quality that set him apart from others. His heart was so attuned to the suffering of others that he could not bear to witness it without feeling compelled to help. This innate compassion was a defining characteristic of Buddha's journey toward enlightenment. It was a testament to the power of universal love and the potential for transformation that exists within every individual. By sharing his experiences and insights, Buddha offered Matsya and others a path to a more meaningful and fulfilling life. Matsya's decision to release the golden fish had a ripple effect that extended far beyond his own life. It was a testament to the idea that acts of kindness and compassion have the power to influence entire communities, inspiring others to reflect on their actions and consider the potential for positive change. As Matsya shared his story with others, he became a source of inspiration, encouraging those around him to embrace empathy and kindness in their own lives. His example demonstrated that the impact of compassionate actions is often far-reaching, touching the lives of many in ways that are not always immediately visible. In this way, Matsya's story served as a powerful reminder of the interconnectedness of all beings and the profound difference that a single act of kindness can make. As the years passed, Matsya's life continued to be enriched by the lessons he had learned from Buddha and the golden fish. He discovered that true wealth lies not in the accumulation of material possessions, but in the relationships we cultivate, the compassion we show to others, and the peace we find within ourselves. This understanding brought him a sense of fulfillment that no amount of money could buy, a richness of spirit that illuminated the path ahead and guided him toward a life of purpose and joy. In the grand halls of the palace, where opulence and luxury were commonplace, the young prince stood apart from his royal peers. Other children of noble lineage were often seen playing with extravagant toys, their laughter echoing through the corridors as they vied for the attention of their regal parents. Yet, this prince found joy not in the glittering distractions of wealth, but in the simple acts of kindness that filled his days with purpose and meaning. From an early age, signs of his innate empathy could be seen in the way he interacted with the world around him. Rather than seeking entertainment in the latest toys or games, he found fulfillment in tending to the needs of others. Injured birds, strays wandering the palace grounds, and the weary servants who labored in silence all found a friend in the prince. He shared his meals with those who had none and his laughter with those who carried heavy burdens. What set him apart was his genuine love for all living beings, a love that transcended the barriers of species and status. While his peers might have seen an injured animal as a mere inconvenience, he saw a creature deserving of care and compassion. This deep sense of empathy was nurtured by the teachings of the wise advisors who surrounded him, yet it was his own heart that truly guided his actions. As he grew, his compassion blossomed into a defining trait, one that would shape his destiny and influence those around him. His gentle nature was a beacon of light in a world often overshadowed by the pursuit of power and prestige. And it was this very compassion that led him to a remote mountain forest, where a profound test of his spirit awaited him. The prince's journey through the ancient forest was meant to be a brief respite from the demands of royalty, a chance to immerse himself in the beauty and tranquility of nature. The towering trees whispered secrets of old, their leaves dancing in the gentle breeze. Yet, beneath this serene facade lay a tale of desperation and struggle that would soon reveal itself to the compassionate eyes of the prince. As his retinue guided him through the dense foliage, they stumbled upon a secluded grove, hidden from the world by the embrace of the forest. It was here that they encountered a sight that would forever alter the course of their journey. A tigress lay before them, her once majestic form reduced to a shadow of its former self by the ravages of hunger. Her eyes, once vibrant and full of life, now stared vacantly as if pleading for relief from her suffering. The prince's heart ached at the sight of the tigress, but it was the presence of her cubs that truly moved him. Small, fragile, and helpless, they mealed softly beside their mother, their cries echoing the universal plea for sustenance. The tigress, though fierce by nature, was now a mother in despair, unable to provide for the lives she had brought into the world. His companions, understanding the danger posed by a starving predator, urged him to retreat. Their voices were filled with urgency as they spoke of the risks, the need to preserve their own safety above all else. Yet, the prince saw beyond the immediate peril to the suffering that lay at the heart of the scene. It was not fear he felt, but a profound connection to the plight of the tigress and her cubs. In that moment, a battle raged within the prince's heart, a struggle between the instinct for self-preservation and the call of compassion. His companion's words echoed in his mind, cautioning him to turn away, to leave the tigress to the fate dictated by nature's harsh laws. Yet, his heart spoke a different language, one of empathy and understanding that transcended the boundaries of logic and fear. He pondered the nature of compassion, the innate desire to reach out and alleviate the suffering of another being. Was it not the highest calling of a noble heart to act in accordance with this love, even when personal safety was at stake? The prince understood that true compassion often demanded courage, the courage to stand firm in the face of adversity and to choose love over fear. With a deep breath, he made his decision. He would not abandon the tigress and her cubs to their fate. Instead, he would offer them the only thing he had to give, his own life. It was a decision born not of recklessness, but of clarity, a realization that the boundaries between self and other could dissolve in the light of true compassion. As the prince approached the tigress, he did so with a heart unburdened by fear. His voice, gentle and reassuring, reached out to the suffering mother with a message of hope. He spoke of his understanding, his willingness to offer himself so that she and her young might live. It was an offer made with pure love, devoid of any expectation or desire for reward. Laying himself before the tigress, he surrendered to the moment, allowing the transformative power of compassion to guide his actions. And in that sacred exchange, something miraculous occurred. The tigress, sensing the depth of the prince's love, paused. She recognized the gift being offered, a gift that transcended the material and touched the very essence of existence. The prince's sacrifice was not in vain, for it went beyond the physical realm to awaken a profound transformation within the tigress. It was a testament to the power of selflessness, the ability of love to bridge the chasm between predator and prey, between life and death. His willingness to give all for the welfare of others embodied the essence of a bodhisattva, a being dedicated to the liberation of all sentient life. The story of the prince's ultimate sacrifice carries with it timeless lessons, teachings that resonate with the core of our being. It reminds us that true love knows no boundaries, that compassion is not limited by the distinctions we create between ourselves and others. In the prince's actions, we see the embodiment of a truth that transcends the physical, a truth that speaks to the interconnectedness of all life. Through his sacrifice, the prince demonstrated that the heart capable of such love has already transcended the ordinary fears and attachments that bind us. It is a heart that recognizes the illusion of separation and embraces the oneness of existence. His story encourages us to reflect on our own capacity for compassion, to consider how we might bring this love into our daily lives. The prince's journey mirrors the teachings of the Buddha, who spoke of the path to enlightenment as one paved with compassion and wisdom. His story serves as a parable, a narrative that conveys spiritual truths through the power of example. It invites us to explore the depths of our own hearts, to seek the enlightenment that comes from living in harmony with the world around us. In the teachings of the Buddha, we find guidance on the importance of compassion as a means to inner peace. We are reminded that enlightenment is not a distant goal, but a journey that begins with each act of kindness, each moment of selflessness. The prince's story becomes a mirror, reflecting the potential for awakening within us all. As we reflect on the lessons of the prince's story, we are called to integrate this wisdom into our own lives. We are encouraged to embrace the small acts of selflessness that can lead to profound transformation. Whether it is offering a kind word, sharing a meal, or simply being present for another, these moments of compassion bring us closer to the boundless love that resides within us. The path to enlightenment is gradual, a gentle unfolding of the heart that occurs over time. Each step we take in the direction of compassion brings us closer to the awakening that is our birthright. As we walk this path, we are supported by the stories and teachings that illuminate the way, guiding us toward a life of purpose and joy. The prince's legacy is one of enduring compassion, a legacy that continues to inspire and teach us about the power of love. His actions remind us of the ripple effect of kindness, how a single act of selflessness can touch countless lives and create a legacy of empathy for future generations. As we conclude this chapter, let us carry with us the lessons of the prince's story, allowing them to shape our interactions and guide our choices. May we nurture the seeds of compassion within our hearts, fostering a world where love and understanding prevail. And may we always remember, in the heart of every being lies the potential for greatness, the capacity to transform the world through the simple yet profound act of compassion.